We have already advanced one team today and sent one team home, and we are just around the corner of doing it all over again. One team in our second best of 3 moves on, and one team will end up heading home, and their Season 9 will be over. Very dramatic when it's worded that way, but that's the stakes that we've got here for our second best of 3 of the day as the Smite Challenger Circuit Championship in North America continues. My name is Dolson. Goremizer joins me on the desk, was with me on the cast just a moment ago. And Gore, unfortunately, in our first set of the day, the SOC's run here at the North American Smite Challenger Circuit Championships comes to an end.
And just in general. I mean, all of the SOC teams now eliminated from EU last week. Personnel made it pretty far. I do think it's interesting that both times it was the second seed from the open circuit that made it a little further than the first seed. And I think that just goes to show that we pull up and personnel showed up on the right weekends. Unfortunately, that they fell out as early as they did, but a lot of promise. Honestly, I don't know what the status of getting to be an SCC team next year, but I expect to see some of those lineups again.
The names will be in the mix, absolutely. Of course, we're talking about a Group A matchup that just happened, and with that, Group A's bracket concluded here in the first half of the weekend. The Eldritch Hounds, squeaky clean, spotless, 2-0s across the board. They beat We Pull Up and the Callan Wardens 2-0 both. Callan Wardens had their work cut out for them here this weekend. 2-1 against the Weavers, that was a win. Then, as I just mentioned, they lost to the Hounds, had to bounce back, and win all 3 against We Pull Up. So the 2 teams advancing from Group A to the elimination stage of our bracket. Of course, the Eldritch Hounds, the expected team, and then the Callan Wardens with a lot of close matchups, able to squeak out and advance to our next round, which means, over in Group B, we have one more match to play to advance our final squad. The Sages, they did go 3 against this Tanuki team. And the Tanuki should put up a big fight here against the Xibalba Storm, who dropped to the Tanuki in our first match of the weekend. And now, Gore, we get a rematch. Storm or the Tanuki going home. And, of course, the opposite side of that is the Storm or the Tanuki advancing. You know, I think if you're looking at all the bits and pieces and moving parts, as we've so talked about, you know, who is that second favorite team to advance from North America? I think based on play recently, especially since that first round, could very well be one of these 2 teams between the Tanuki and the Storm.
Oh, for sure. I think that it's honestly, again, very much what we were talking about in NA, I think standing-wise, which is Hounds have been pretty clean and clear here this weekend. And then everybody else has been very, very topsy-turvy on top of each other. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I also think, and you know, I wonder how much this impacts it, but it being a rematch where you already had a best of 3, do you treat it, in my mind, you almost can think of it as like a best of 7 when you're going into game 3, right?
Adjusting
like
and stuff,
you're already at that point where you're like, well, we know what they want to play. Yeah, there were some games in between, but we know what they want to play.
Yep.
Maybe you can start with that on the right foot and pick some bands.
And for the Xibalba Storm, some adjustments have to be made because of the mid laner from the Yomi Tanuki. Nayhoo has been playing a very, very strong brand of Smite for the Tanuki over the course of the last few sets that we have seen this team play. And really, for Nayhoo, I was wondering if it was going to be the Ra or maybe the Merlin that we saw. The space control mages have been so effective for Nayhoo. His positioning has been very on point, Gore. And I think the ability to play something a bit more unique like the Ra, or a bit more standard like the Merlin, is a big boost here for this Tanuki team and their ability to maybe hide some stuff in picks and bans.
Yeah, I think yesterday specifically, Nayhoo was putting in work, right? We talk about them going 3 against the Sages, and you can see, you know, having to go towards the depths for it. And I'm going to say that they lost, you know, I guess despite the performance from Nayhoo, right? Yep. Nayhoo was absolutely running some of the show, and there were moments where they were definitely out-pressured on this Ra, but Nayhoo has just been playing out of their mind. The Ra, the Merlin, having that flexibility into gods that are not meta, and then playing them at a level that is going to disrupt what the other team has. I mean, hell, if you're doing that on Ra, I'd hate to think what you could actually do on something that is quote-unquote the top of the bid, right? So when you're locking it in there, I think that's something that the Storm have to be worried about coming into this set, is that carry potential coming from Nayhoo is amazing. MagicFeet we've seen quite a little bit of, but I also have to, like, while at least glancing by them, alongside Nayhoo, give the shout out to Shinigami, because I think Shinigami's had a fantastic weekend so far.
Yep.
And I think those two carries are two people that you really need to be worried about if you are the Storm.
Been some great AD carry play, and we'll talk about Shinigami a bit more during picks and bans, I'm sure. And so for the Xibalba Storm, if you're just going apples to apples here across the mid lane from Nayhoo, we'll stand Joshy here in this set. Now Joshy has plenty of competitive Smite experience in the past. We have seen a wide god pool from Joshy as well, Gore. I don't know if it's been quite as flashy as maybe some of Nayhoo's plays have been. However, for this Storm team, and you need that concrete structure in your draft. You need the ability to survive, dive like this, and still make plays happen. That shows you the veteranship that Joshy's been playing with here this weekend.
And level-headed plays for a lot of these. I think that this team, like you said, Joshy hasn't had maybe the opportunity to be as flashy as Nayhoo. But I would argue that's because most of the Storm are playing well and not just one of them. Like Nayhoo, in certain moments yesterday, was the one popping off while everybody else was taking some moments. I think you also get a lot of play and performance from Dame, who's been playing out of his damn mind. I think the two of them together, like you said, maybe nothing crazy flashy, no triple kills, quadra kills or whatever from Joshy. But when you've got Dame stepping up at this rate, Joshy playing the way that we saw in a lot of these highlights, you get Zen playing at their level. I think that this team is just everybody's firing on the exact right amount of cylinders. Not all of them.
Yep.
They just have exactly whatever they need for the speed that they've been playing. I don't know if you can not fire on all cylinders in an engine. I've never studied that. I'm going to assume you can't, because that seems like that would be against the whole combustion point and a lot of that. But
your point
that's
stands,
what they're. Yeah, that's you get the idea.
Right.
It's not a one-to-one metaphor, is what I'm getting.
We swirled a little bit there, but I think I get what you're trying to say.
And now it's flushed and gone, and we can leave it behind.
We can move it on as we head into picks and bans for game number 1 here between the Tanuki and the Xibalba Storm. I said we might pick up with the AD carries, and I'm just going to here, Gore. Shinigami, especially in a North American SCC that has seen Griff have an incredible weekend, has had Diesel having some moments, InMyZen, Dude Man Bro, of course, for the Hounds, Renjaru. I mean, this is a very, very strong AD carry class for the North American SCC. It's kind of insane. And Shinigami replacing Snoopy, that's been the conversation of this Tanuki team over the course of the weekend. But has also been able to carry, just like Snoopy was able to at times for this Tanuki team.
Yeah.
And so that does put a unique emphasis, especially with InMyZen across the way. I mean, again, eye to eye for our AD carry comparisons. CERN banned. I think very, very smart then from the Storm to ban out the Ishtar on the other side. We don't want to
exactly what I was going to say.
Just the top tier pick to either of the AD carries.
That's one of the easiest first pick decisions. Like, look, if Thor's gone, if Ishtar is there, that's pretty much the step in, right? I mean, you go for it immediately. I've been enjoying this pick, though.
Yeah, it's been fun.
You come into this, actually, this weekend, you come into this conversation. We've got Ishtar. Go a little down. You've got Cupid and Kernanos. Those were the only other two that were really competing with her. And admittedly, it wasn't super often anyway. I mean, like, Cupid, I still think has a lot of merits and could slot in pretty well alongside of Ymir. What we have seen from this ROM, though, over the last couple of games and couple of days, I'm sold on it, right? It was the Warriors that were the only ones who were really, truly willing. Like, Vote was playing it. Everybody else was a little iffy on it. We've seen some more out there picks. Hell, Danza Burrow was getting picked up a lot by Barra. And so I see this ROM pick, and I'm happy with it. If your snipes are even half as good as what we've seen so far today, he's going to do fine.
Yep, agreed. The ROM's been a lot of fun to watch. Anything like that has the skill shot, long range, miracle play potential, always going to be a favorite of mine. My favorite composition of the weekend so far was one that had a ROM and a Ra, and we were just getting snipes on cooldown in these big team fights, and it was crazy, crazy fun to watch. Suppose still could happen here for the Xibalba Storm. Ra still on the table, if that's what Joshy ends up wanting to play. Get the feeling that's maybe not quite the direction
that's
they're
a
going.
Nayhoo god right now.
Agreed, but Scylla does fill some of that role, Gore. I think Scylla, the ability to take a game over with a big Iron Monster, a big crush, it's there, but... We've also seen a lot of misses from the Scylla here this weekend.
But the good news.
Tell me, I need it.
You got a Maui and you got a Hades. There's a lot of setup there that is going to make it very easy for a Scylla to just do her job. And again, like you're saying, if you're looking for that big burst, that big playmaker capability, that's what this Scylla is going to bring. And so I'm liking it in this draft. I like it even more with the Pele alongside it. I think that the Storm have given themselves a lot of opportunities for success and a lot of opportunities for damage. There's one thing that I am not too crazy about.
One cylinder that's not firing.
And that's the Dodgy on the other side. And that's...
Really?
Well, we just saw what a Dodgy can do when it runs rampant. I think that if MagicFeet can get onto the right start, this Dodgy pick could be the Storm's undoing.
We've highlighted the mids. We've highlighted the jungle for good reason. I think the jungle, a Dodgy versus a Pele, it's about as high octane as it gets, and it's game number 1 with JMac and Trelly.
It is elimination for one of these two teams and a revenge match for the Xibalba Storm as the Yomi Tanuki sent them down to the losers bracket to start this weekend out, and now we get to see if the Xibalba Storm have learned enough through their time in the trenches to see if they can get their revenge up against the Yomi Tanuki as JMac, Trelly, and Doug to bring the action for game number 1. And Charlie, we saw what a Dodgy was able to do in our first set of the day there in game 3 in Schlemmy's hands. I'm curious to see. Oh, he actually just stole that.
Oceans has hog, man. What are you doing? I guess you don't want to use it, but just click hog, man. Like
whatever button you have that consumable bound to, just press it, bro.
Yeah, what default is G, I believe. Just click
for
G.
For C and Z, I think for consumables.
Just click one of them, and then you get
click any button on your
the
keyboard.
buff, and you don't get behind. In this case, a great start for the duo lane though. Shipigami and Dashboardzd both have purple buffs, so expect to see this Ymir absolutely swinging with those big club auto attacks. I think matchup-wise, I do like the dodge G here just because into Pele you don't really have to worry about the knockup too much as long as you're channeling 1,000 cuts. And Scylla, you can blink in, use your damage, then chase with Trickster Spirit. But on the other side, I never hate a Pele, right? Especially into a matchup like Vulcan. I think Dame also has that same amount of aggression. If you can blink onto Vulcan, you can blink onto Nayhoo after that backfire goes down. A lot of chance to blow some relics early on, which just opens up the aggression so much more for both of these teams. And I think, I'm not going to say they ride and die by the weight of their junglers getting active early, but when MagicFeet and when Dame are looking good, you can tell the Tanuki and the Storm are both looking good when that happens.
Yeah, the junglers definitely hold a lot of weight to the momentum for both of these two teams. I'm specifically keeping my eyes on Oceans this game on the Maui. Last time he brought this god out was not a good performance, and that might be putting it lightly. I mean, missing multiple landfalls, hooks were off the mark for almost the entire game. I think he ended with like 1,500 player damage in a game. It was not a stellar start for Oceans. We'll be able to swing away this time. It's still slowed down. A couple more autos should do it. Oceans will pop his own horrific emblem, but a beads from Shippigami to get away from the slow. Oceans jukes out one shot, needs another auto. And it's the minions of the Harpy camp to assist Shippigami in first blood for the Tanuki.
You gonna tell me you didn't just jinx that man to get first
Bro,
blood?
I just hit him the hardest caster's curse I've ever seen.
You said, man, whenever Oceans plays Maui, hold that thought. We got a blink it from Dame and MagicFeet getting real low here.
MagicFeet teleports away. Dame can't close the gap. Thanks to good body blocks by Snaddy, but he gets knocked up by the Pele. Delnyyy still holding left click to swing the autos away, but blue buff does manage to get invaded and stolen away by the Tanuki.
He missed the hog! There's no way! What?
Oceans, Oceans, I'm sitting here saying, man, I want to see a little bit more. I want to see. You're missing the basics. That's not a Maui thing. That's just a support. That's just a support mechanic, dog.
Bro, imagine not hogging on the first buff just to save it for the second one and then missing it on the second
You
buff.
know how much damage it does, guaranteed.
And then, you know, Zen's just like, did you get it? And it was like, nah, man, they,
About that.
yeah, they out-confirmed hog.
Come on, man.
I have no doubt this is all you're doing. Oceans can hear you.
Did I curse this man from minute 1 of the game? Oh, no.
You've at the very least cursed the duo lane. The rest of the team, whatever happens from here on out, has nothing to do with JMac, but Oceans definitely has to step up at least the consumable game for the time being, just to make sure they can get over the bad juju you've put out onto the gameplay. Left side of the map looking clean, though, if MagicFeet wants to look for a possible first blood or at least somewhere to gain some pressure. I don't even think you gotta look towards the duo lane, but Snaddy gonna force out the beats very early on from Delnyyy, which now means if there's a powwow that could come through, you better be channeling that Pillars of Agony or else you're getting pulled back in.
Yeah, Delnyy's probably gonna lose quite a bit of XP to this tower. You do see Dame rotating over to maybe try and jump in the lane for it, but Snaddy gonna finally send that wave through, so a lot of XP gonna be, and a lot of gold as well, gonna go to the wayside. Off of that one ultimate from Snaddy, who hit 5 considerably faster than Delnyyy, because he still hasn't had the opportunity to do so. We'll miss out on the majority of one portion of the way, but had quite a few archers there
Still
to get
4,
through,
wow.
but still hasn't hit 5. Snaddy, though, without an ultimate, boxing into 2, but has backup with MagicFeet, who blinks in, teleport in on top of Delnyyy. Still no level 5 for the Hades, and with no beads, that is an easy kill for the 2-man squad on the right side. Yomi Tanuki have now put 2 on the board.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 99% sure. If that buff goes down, Delnyyy hits level 5. But because it was stolen away by the Tanuki, no way to immune that powwow. And unfortunately, that means an easy kill going the way of Snaddy. And Ophedo Osiris is a scary thought. Shiπigami able to take away that purple buff and absolutely chunking Zen
God.
in the boxing match. This man's not scared at all. He might take on Oceans too. In the meantime, pulled away from the teleport, though. Probably just wants to walk away from this one. This is what I'm talking about, though. Shiπigami doesn't even need help anymore. They're like, hey, I can invade 2v1, no problem. If Oceans doesn't have ultimate, which does not currently sitting at level 4, that lane is going to be real rough for a Rama to come back into, which essentially means that Dashbourř can spend most of her time on the right side of the map, saying, hey, I don't have to babysit my Heimdallr. I'm going to try and get my Osiris ahead, man. I'm looking at the levels. Snaddy's got 2 levels on a Delnyyy. I'm thinking it's working.
Yeah, Zen tried to pull that. Well, if my support can't get my purple, then certainly I can get my purple. Unfortunately, he was wrong on that front as well, as Shiπigami steals away a camp from the Xibalba Storm. The dual lane has ballooned out of control, and so has the gold, as it's nearly 2,500 up for the Yomi Tanuki off the back of 2 kills. It was 1 in dual lane to take down Oceans, and then 1 onto Delnyyy, but both those kills have netted in significant leads for those in that lane who need it. 2 levels up for Shiπigami, 2 levels up for Snaddy.
And that's going to be a good lead for the right side of the map. Even Nayhoo able to climb ahead 1 level up Joshy. The Vulcan looking pretty solid. Has a tier 1 pen item over Joshy as well. So I'm thinking objectives could certainly be the name of the game here for the Tanuki. They have that Vulcan turret, they have good burst damage, and they've got pressure through both side lanes. And that's pretty much all the boxes you have to tick if you want to go for some early pulls, possibly towards Goldfree, but more importantly towards that Pyromancer, just because it takes a little bit longer. Snaddy does some good damage over to Delnyyy, not able to steal away that blue buff that time around. But actually a chase down for MagicFeet, trying to put some pressure on the Dame's back camps. Doesn't look like there's going to be fighting coming soon. Volcanic Lightning is available, and if you're ulting the powwow, just to trade ults with Pele, probably not the best idea. Saving that for a guaranteed ganker to force a relic is usually the strat here for these junglers, so looks like just going back to farming, and the Yomi Tanuki are certainly doing that better for right now.
InMyZen happy that he gets to have a purple buff this time. No contest from the Yomi Tanuki dual lane or anybody to try and stop this one. It's been able to close up a lot of that XP disparity that's between him and Shiπigami. Now Zen only about a level behind, at least for now. We'll see if that changes with Shiπigami's pressure. He's been able to output scepters, harpy cams, been going their way. Pull on the dashboard, double freeze into the Earthshaker. Does a lot to Dame, but he's got Volcanic Lightning get out. Landfall off the mark by Oceans, and will immediately drop the island back into the depths. MagicFeet rotating over, but instead gonna try and steal away some more of these XP camps.
Yeah, but it looks like maybe trying to get aggressive towards Delnyyy, doing some good damage with this Dashbourř, but not going to go into the powwow. Remember, Oceans does not have that ultimate, so it could be a pullback opportunity. And I'm thinking Ocean's going to fall down here. It's going to take a bit, but good damage coming from the Dashbourř means MagicFeet gets his first kill of the game. In this game, it's all Tanuki so far. Snaddy's already able to proxy between towers, and I'm assuming go towards that blue buff once again. and make sure this Hades never gets online. Yeah, Delnyyy can't even leave his tier 2.
Bro, he's stuck there.
He's going to lose that wave to tower if he doesn't go up, but I'm not sure he's allowed to. I think he's actually stuck in tier 2. His whole wave's going to die to tower.
He's in there going, bro, give me a hand over here. Like Dame, I need your help. Somebody, mid laner, anybody. Help this man out. He is not allowed to leave the tier 2 tower line. Meanwhile, blue buffs are being stolen away. Totemaku isn't even being done by the solo. It's being done by MagicFeet. And a tier 1 tower might even go down before 10 minutes. At the rate that Delnyyy has been pushed back towards his tower. He had to go back to base because of how much poke that he'd eaten there. The Xibalba Storm to already be down 4,000 gold, Charlie. I mean, that one kill has continued to spiral out of control for the Yomi Tanuki to take advantage of this. Tier 1 tower gone. This is hard. This could be a great opportunity back in with a pick on a Nayhoo. I'm a Monster hits MagicFeet. And we'll get the chains onto one. Only going to pull Oceans in with it this time through. Joshy goes in, missed the Sikkim, lands the crush, but is missing the autos after. And that's a drop kill now by the mid. Maybe one on the dashboard, but Snaddy and Zen have shown up. Dashboard goes down, and Xibalba Storm have turned it around to grab 2.
That's a massive overextension there from Nayhoo. Still had the beads with the I'm a Monster, just too clutch by Joshy. Shippigami is able to Bifrost out of there after an attempt at that red buff invade. But just losing a little, going a little bit too far. Not like the goal is still not in favor of the Tanuki, because it is by a fair margin. But just a little bit too far. I think that Nayhoo and Dashboard just should probably back it up a bit, save those relics, and continue playing to the lead that they currently have. And also a good rotation from Delnyyy, because this Hades has not been able to get as active as you would want, especially with just the way the start of this lane has gone. But still making a clutch rotation in and a good Pillar of Agony there to make sure to lock in Dashboard, put that Ymir down. Just means that you can still do some things, even from behind, on this Hades. But it looks like, once again, blue buff is being looked at here. Dashboard, MagicFeet, and Snaddy on their way. It's not going to be easy for Delnyyy to try and confirm this one.
Well, he won't even have a chance to.
No, he will not.
He doesn't even get a walk up to the circle of the buff camp or even into the jungle at that point. But this tier 1 tower gone. Every bit of farm on this side of the map stripped away by the Yomi Tanuki, whether that be the Scorpion, the Blue, or the back harpy camps. This is the best that Delnyyy can do, is wait for a wave to hit his tower line. And Pyromancer started by the Yomi Tanuki. This one will go for free. No one on the Storm on this side of the map. Maybe rotation towards left, though. Shippigami gets to the Bifrost. Teleports all the way back to tier 2 tower. I don't think Dame was expecting that far of a teleport for the Hunter to get out.
Yeah, Shippigami definitely knew exactly where Dame was, or at the very least that Dame was there. Because Zen was starving the wave, number 1, and number 2, trying to get aggressive, which this Rama has not done throughout the entirety of this game. So just good map presence and using that big Bifrost. Waste a little bit of Dame's time, but also make sure to hold on to those relics and stay safe underneath the tower. With a 1-level lead, you want to make sure your Heimdallr is staying as far back as possible, and the rest of the team is getting Pyromancer on the right side of the map. So smart calls throughout. But the Gold Fury is still available. The Pyromancer's down. Now the Tanuki should be looking towards the left side of the map, and that's where MagicFeet is now. Maybe looking to find a powwow, try and grab some beads. A good pull in from Oceans. MagicFeet getting real low here. Dame wants to chase this one down, and the landfall's going to pull him back in.
It's going to slam, but perfect stun by Dashboard. Buys MagicFeet the time to get into the powwow. I'm a Monster just off the mark. MagicFeet is out. Joshy is gone, but Dame blinks in, finds the ultimate, will trade his life out. And Zen finds another snipe on a Nayhoo. It's a 2 for 2. The mids and the jungles are both out of this fight. And it's the other 3 on both squads that have converged to the mid lane, but it's Yomi Tanuki with the healthier HP bars.
Yeah, that was sick by Dame. I mean, using the minions to get the last hit of the Pyro last, and then still return enough damage onto Nayhoo to make sure that the snipes from Zen could finish off the second kill. I mean, all things considered, that should be a kill onto MagicFeet just because of how low the Daji got into the powwow before it even started. So good pull in by Oceans and better return damage from Joshy, but a good blink and some sidestepping was able to get MagicFeet almost underneath that tower. But Dame said, there's no way. I'm letting this Daji get out. And committed the trade, which ended up actually trading 2 in that case. So certainly worth there for the Storm. They're trying to catch back up in whichever way possible and still able to fight back in despite the massive gold deficit and the XP that they're fighting into. May I remind you that Delnyyy is 4 levels down, now 3,
Yeah.
after hitting level 11, but Snaddy has some farm to grab as well. It's not going to be easy to survive this Osiris as the game continues.
Yeah, I was about to say, this golden XP, the XP largely in favor just because of the solo lane going through right now. It's Snaddy now 14 versus the 11, so only 3.5 level difference. Only 3.5 levels between the solo laners right now. There is a slight lead for Dame in the jungle. Joshy and Zen have been doing their best to at least keep even. Same with Oceans to try and mitigate some of that XP lead of the Yomi Tanuki. But I mean, we're staring at 5,000 gold already up for the Yomi Tanuki at this point. Hard for the Xibalba Storm to fight into a deficit like this, though they've shown that they are more than capable of doing so, going 2 for 2 in that last battle. And Tanuki stepping up.
Wow.
Even I'm a monster from Joshy. Just for Dashboard walking up. It gets thrown out, doesn't find anybody this time. And Snaddy has been the first one of the solo laners to rotate over. Red buff does get saved for the Xibalba Storm, but there's going to be a fight around the Gold Fury that's already started. Quarter HP on the bird. Landfall and the snipes there, but the Tanuki confirmed the Gold Fury. Earthshaker avoided by Oceans, but Dame got clipped by it, and he's out of the fight. Powwow will not find anybody this time around. Snaddy blinks in past the Ymir wall. Joshy, Aegis down, but the flail not enough. Delnyyy dragging 2 back in, but I don't think he wants to stick around much longer. The Xibalba Storm's health bars are low, and the Tanuki with their objective will back out.
Yeah, that was almost stolen away by Zen there. I'm surprised that Nayhoo wasn't looking even at the Fury. But the ultimate does some big damage to Dame, and at least gets the tier 1 tower for their troubles. The Yomi Tanuki make a good play around the Gold Fury and get very low health targets, but not able to clean up those kills. And that's going to be the end of the Brong on the left side of the map. Now, you got to focus your head back to the right because Pyromancer should be up soon in about a minute or 2. And it looks like the right side of the map needs some vision here from the Yomi Tanuki, whereas the Xibalba Storm, no one's been over here for quite some time. I mean, Delnyyy had to make that rotation out pretty early. No teleport available for this Hades, so you got to book it on foot every time you think that Fury's being looked at. And now, Dashboard's able to get the vision down on the objective and possibly step up and try and steal this Greater Scorpion. Last time it was just the wall and some threatening aura that made Joshy go into I'm a Monster before the fight even started. And I'm assuming just the beads, right? That's what Joshy is trying to hold on to. Doesn't want to have to save I'm a Monster for that powwow every single time. Wants to use I'm a Monster aggressively if possible, which means you need the beads if you're going to be able to do that. So I'm keeping my eyes on Dashboard, and more specifically wherever these walls go down, because anytime a relic gets forced, that makes MagicFeet's job a little bit easier.
Snaddy chopping away at Delnyy's HP bar, half health on the Haze, but a pull on the Snaddy. There's 4 people surrounding. He'll dunk in on top of 2, and that is just enough to force the Xibalba Storm back. Pyromancer once again on the table for the Yomi Tanuki, but this time the Storm have shown up to at least stop this one. They pull it back for themselves instead. Joshy has the crush down, but the Xibalba Storm get the Pyromancer. Can they get out of the fight? Snaddy wants to take down Zen, and teleported from MagicFeet. And Snaddy still pressing forward, but MagicFeet has to go on the pallet. This time, Earthshaker removes Zen from the map. Delnyyy, fortunate for the extra tankiness, but Oceans will drop to Shippigami, and Dame will ult out.
I don't even hate that play by Zen. He's like, oh, guess what? I got MagicFeet really low. This Dajee, I'm going to snipe him when he gets out from the powwow. But unfortunately, you can't channel Aegis during that ultimate. And right when he decided to go up into the skies, gets deleted by the Earthshaker. Joshy's walking up, though. Wants to try and go for a steal play. I'm a Monster is available, but someone's going to have to put some pressure towards this Scylla.
I'm a Monster used. DPS to the Fire Giant has slowed down. Now that I'm a Monster is gone, it's a dunk in for Snaddy. And it should be a kill for the Osiris, but the damage output of this Hades is enormous up against Snaddy. He'll go down, but that is a traded life for a Fire Giant onto 4. The Yomi Tanuki, not only with an 8k gold lead, but 4 with fire.
Yeah, Snaddy bit off a little bit more than he could chew there. Used that Lord of the Afterlife and immediately got feared into a ton of damage from Joshy. If the beads were available, yeah, that's definitely a free kill. Maybe Delnyy's able to trade out, but there are no beads for Snaddy. Decided to go Blink and the Teleport, so CC from the Xibalba Storm onto this Osiris is really going to help the amount of peel that they need. But Fire Giant on 4 and the Tanuki in a very commanding position here, trying to climb that gold lead up to about 8K. Currently it's about 6 or 7. They're going to look at these last tier 2 towers. 3 still available, 1 in every single lane, but it's actually the Storm. They're trying to set up a bit of an ambush on the left side of the map. Is Delnyyy able to grab the beads from MagicFeet as well? That's going to be a big trade. The Dashbourřd going to have to play a little bit safer now. Maybe worried about the CC chain from Dame and Delnyyy.
Ultimate slams on Oceans, but he's got an ult of his own. He'll pull back Nayhoo, and Dame goes in. The snipes and the damage from the jungler are just too much. Oceans lives through the onslaught of the mid laner, but now the MagicFeet has returned. It's not enough damage. Palau, chains have got to hit Oceans, but none of them do. Snaddy's got to be the one to get the damage. No, MagicFeet goes right back in, but now he is the one on the run. A 3rd HP in the Dodgy, trapped behind the door, nowhere to go. It's Dame to take him down.
Yeah, unfortunate Palau shots, and all of a sudden Nayhoo and Dashboarřd just trying to fight by themselves before the team even arrived. I gotta feel like a bit of a throw there from the Yomi Tanuki. They didn't have to fight. They have Fire Giant. They could have waited for the full 5v5 group up, or at the very least until Snaddy was able to join, but I guess Oceans just looked like too easy of a kill, which it certainly was not, but still. It looked like that was the call. So forcing out the horrific emblem and a beautiful landfall by Ocean just to stall out that fight as long as possible. It means that the Yomi Tanuki have their Fire Giant left on 2 members. All the while, Shippigami was able to get that tier 2 and left. And now start up the Oni Fury. A little bit extra gold in the pocket and starting to buff some of these minions.
Yeah, now with the Oracle Vision gone, it's a clean pickup for the Yomi Tanuki. So post Fire Giant, have not really been able to expand their lead very much. It was 8,000 whenever it went down, and it's actually dropped about 1,000 gold since then. Mostly because they've lost a couple of members in these team fights, but as you mentioned, able to take down a tier 2 over in left. That opens the door to the Phoenix for the Yomi Tanuki. No, I don't expect that we'll be seeing any kind of Phoenix pushes for now. Only a minute left on that Fire Giant buff for the 2 players who do still have it, and a couple of tier 2s left standing. Might not even be a call for the Tanuki to go towards these structures. Instead, it seems that farming up the jungle is the call here. For the Xibalba Storm, we've seen that punch back. We've seen when MagicFeet's not connecting these and having to dive deep in, really is where the Xibalba Storm are able to capitalize off the mistakes of the Tanuki.
Now looks like a possible grouping towards the mid lane. Fire Giant leaves in about 38 seconds, but still enough time for Shippigami and Dashboarřd to use that buff to try and grab a tier 2 tower. InMyZen is on the left side of the map, so a 5v4 at the moment, and that's probably why the Storm aren't even going to step up for this one. Backing up and trying to go underneath the tower is the call. Actually, the Phoenix, maybe because Zen's not here, the Tanuki are surging forward. Didn't like that call, and I'm thinking the rest of the team didn't as well. They're going to back up and set up for this next Fire Giant. Don't have enough relics to really suggest going for a Fire Giant, or a Phoenix rather, without that Fire Giant buff on more. It's going to respawn in about a minute though, and the Tanuki are standing by, seeing who can walk up. Dashboarřd with a freeze would be enough to start another engagement, but it looks like the rest of the Storm are going to the right.
Snaddy will spot out Oceans. Dashboarřd still hasn't revealed himself, neither is Nayhoo. Pull on from Oceans, Earthshaker on top of the support, and the damage from the mid laner is too much. Beads and an ultimate gone from the carries, but so is Dashboarřd erased by the Emma Monster, and Dame may have bit off a little more than he can chew as MagicFeet erases him in the 3v1 in the far depths of the backline of the Yomi Tanuki, who come out on top with a 2-for-1 trade and a Pyromancer to boot.
MagicFeet still has that Palau though. I was wondering if anyone from the Storm were going to try and walk up, but since there's no Fire Giant, going to be the full-on retreat here from both of these squads. The Yomi Tanuki have the better positioning around that Fire Giant by the 1-man advantage, and Dashboarřd will be up a little bit after Oceans. But Dame also spawning in about 20 seconds, so I assume, unless the Tanuki pull immediately, which with that back from MagicFeet and the fact that half the team is at a red buff right now, I'm assuming not going to be the case. Looks like we're going to see a true 5v5 towards this Fire Giant. Nayhoo used both relics there to try and survive the onslaught from Dame. And Dame also used both relics to try and kill Nayhoo, so not going to be the biggest deal in the world once those relics come back up, but someone's got to protect Nayhoo because this Vulcan can do big damage while not under the fire of a blink in from Delnyyy. This Pele Hades combo. And it's really been making sure the Vulcan has to stay pretty far back.
Nayhoo has been slamming these Earthshakers primarily into Oceans these last few times that we've seen them go through. So, if now you can find one of these carries. Could try and take one of them off the map. Delnyyy frozen.
Oh my goodness.
Dives in though with the bees. Landfall will pull Nayhoo back, but he gets caught right in the midst of it. And Earthshaker hits 2. Dame able to couple up and take down 1, but Dame will trade his life. It's an immediate double kill for Shiπigami, who was able to bat away at both Delnyyy and Dame during that fight. And Snaddy with the Lord of the Afterlife will push Oceans and Joshy back, but it's a reset for the Tanuki once again.
Yeah, once again, a little too much health bars. They could not go for the pull immediately. Now, making a beeline back for the Fire Giant as the Xibalba Storm going to take some time to get some farm before they try and go for a possible defense. But with I'm a Monster down and Zen does not have the snipes, it's not going to be easy to step up. At the very least, Joshy has both relics, so if Snaddy tries the zone, we'll be able to live. But it seems to me, J-Mac, like the Storm are on the left side of the map and they don't care about this Fire Giant, or more accurately, they can't defend, so they're not going to go for the possible steal. And if the Tanuki know this, they'll wait at least 5 seconds for Nayhoo, and it looks like they have figured it out. The rest of the team is on the left side of the map, so all 5 members of the Tanuki will be able to grab this Fire Giant for the first time this game. Last time Snaddy died right after the Fire Giant went down, so was not able to push with the full objective. And also last time, Dashboardzd and Nayhoo just kind of walked up 2v3 and ended up throwing a bit of their push right at the beginning. So I'm hoping the Tanuki group up as a unit and sort of push out towards this Primal Fury, because there is no more tier 2 towers to go through. But actually, it's Shiπigami and Dashboardzd who are still stuck over on the right side of the map, haven't went back yet, and have not grouped up for this push. Primal Fury should be the first object, and maybe grab a Trebuchet in the meantime, because both of these teams are close to getting that extra siege help. Or I guess in this case, if the Storm were able to steal it, some defense help for this objective. But all 3 birds are strong, and the Tanuki want to push up and take one of them down.
Yomi Tanuki with a 10,000 gold lead now, 25 minutes in. And significant power spikes for the mid laner comparison. Joshy, 4 items just now finished his Pendulum of Ages, where on the other side, Nayhoo's already had it, plus a Soul Gem. So full item up for the mages. A full starter upgrade between the hunters as well. Shiπigami able to get his arrow maxed out. And Zen still has not been able to upgrade his starter, so that's where the 2 major power spikes begin. A little bit closer in the jungle, though MagicFeet still a tier 2 item up ahead in that regard. So Yomi Tanuki have the momentum. They've got the item advantage. But now it comes down to the actual fight, which the Xibalba Storm have been gleefully taking these 2-for-2 trade-outs every time.
Yeah, and the Storm also have that extra aura around the Phoenix, meaning that just poking it down not going to work. You're going to have to really commit to this left side bird if the Tanuki want to try and knock that down. And all relics are available, so MagicFeet's job's certainly not easy. Trying to get these beads could be Dashboardz's idea. Walk up, pop a Horrific, maybe look for a wall into a freeze. But I think Joshy is enough threat that the Yomi Tanuki can't just walk in. This Scylla has incredible poke and clear. Just being able to send out that crush whenever. Make sure that the Tanuki can't just walk up for no reason. You're going to get hit with the mean end of a crush and some Soul Reaver procs if that happens. But Dashboardzd keeps the wave. 1 minion out of that crush.
All that 1 minion goes down as soon as the wall fades away. Like the idea from Dashboardzd though. Throws out the crush. He knows wall's going to outlast it. But a landfall splits the uprights from Oceans, and Dashboardz's HP low. Snipes have got to be on point by Zen, and they are. Dashboardzd, the first one down for the Yomi Tanuki. But half HP on Delnyyy, a quarter away from Josh. We'll throw out another crush. These minions aren't going to get much. Snaddy goes to the back line to try and keep them busy as the Phoenix melts under the might of the Hunter, and so does Dame's health bar. But Snaddy trades out as well. And a pal out from MagicFeet is instantly immune by Joshy. Shiπigami dashes in with ultimate, but not going to lose out on anything more than there. It's the left bird +2 for the Yomi Tanuki.
Yeah, trading out supports and then trading out solo for jungle is the call, but no ultimates available for the Storm and no ultimates available for the Tanuki, so left side bird is the only win that we're going to see on this Fire Giant push. That buff's going to run off in about 30 seconds. Clean play from Shiπigami, though. I think using that ultimate to juke out and possibly get 2 crits onto Joshy would have been enough to put that Scylla down. 7-0 on this Heimdallr. Does not seem to be making much mistakes on this pick. just positioning well and absolutely chunking. I actually really like the build too. You're able to get plenty of crit chance as long as you have gold in pocket with Ornate Arrow, and then a little bit extra with that Shadow Steel Shuriken. It just outright buys a 3K. Decides, decides, hey, I'm not going to upgrade these relics. I don't care about those things. I just want bigger numbers, and that's exactly what Shinigami's going to do. And it just pops them right away. That's a mad choice. You're not going to be fighting for another 2 minutes. That's just 120 seconds wasted on that elixir. Unless, of course, he just, like, teleports in, and then I'm just silly for saying that.
Well, I mean, when he's critting on the lower power of the auto chain for 820 damage, I'm not going to question this man and exactly when he wants to pop those potions, because this could be maybe the final fight of the game with left bird down. Xibalba Storm are on a timer if they decide to step up to the Fire Giant pit. But so far, none of them have elected to move over full commit just yet. We now see the Storm starting to gather around, but with 15 seconds till fire spawns, they've got to gather quick, or at least try and start a fight a little bit sooner.
Yeah, EFG going to be available here in about 30 seconds. Left side fire minions are pushing in, and no teleports available for the Storm. That's why they're sieging forward. Delnyyy, usually the one to engage these fights, tries to blink in, look for a big fear into the Pillars of Agony, and then Dame chases down. But with the Tanuki so far ahead, it's not going to be easy. Landfall, another one off the mark. Oceans has not been on point with those.
No. Has had a couple of them that were pretty good this game, but has also had a couple just in the last 2 team fights, or I can't even really call that one a team fight. Maybe an attempted start to a team fight, but my man was going for the short pass when his wide receivers were all the way down the field at that point. And the Yomi Tanuki, Delnyyy goes into the back line, finds both of the carries. Beads are gone. Dame has removed the mage. Dame has removed Shinigami. Dashboardzd slammed by the Yama Monster. But can MagicFeet and Snaddy make things happen during the team fight? MagicFeet teleports over the wall. Half health on the dodgy, will resustain with the camps. But Snaddy is now all by himself in the middle of 4. Have the Xibalba Storm in one team fight completely flip the script on this game. They're not able to chase down Snaddy or MagicFeet, so instead it's Enhanced Fire Giant on the mind to the Storm.
Yeah, I've got no clue what Nayhoo decided to do there. I mean, that was blink in from Delnyyy, and then just holding on to relics, just did not Beads or Aegis. Shinigami ulted out, but now MagicFeet trying to keep this EFG dream alive and is completely deleted. Snaddy now running from the rest of the Storm. Dame had to back up to clear waves, and now Snaddy just gonna stall out as long as possible in the Storm. 12,000 gold down at the start of that fight, are now 10,000 gold down, and they're going to get EFG on 5. I mean, it was extremely telegraphed as well. I think everyone on the team knew Delnyy's going to blink in, Pillars of Agony, and then Dame's going to blink in after. But Nayhoo just used no relics, took half health from that ultimate, and then Shinigami also was not able to use relics. They were caught sleeping there.
Just not respecting the Xibalba Storm at that point. They look up and they see, well, look at Delnyy's build. He doesn't even have a 5th full item online yet. Maybe this Hades doesn't hit as hard.
He doesn't even have Poly, man. He's not a reader.
Yeah, and still doesn't have Poly. Instead, it's Book of the Dead picked up in place of it. Now working towards maybe a Poly in that last slot, but
he got a library
card. Nayhoo just not respecting Hades damage and paid the price for it. This dream that the Yomi Tanuki had is quickly turned into a nightmare, Trelly, because the Xibalba Storm, as you highlight, we're down 12,000 gold going to that team fight. No ultimate available for Oceans either. Remember, he whipped that before the fight even started.
That's what it was, though.
That was the intimidation.
That's the reason that no carries ulted. They're like, Oceans can't hit a landfall. Like, I'm not going to use relics this game, and then realize immediately, wait, Dame kind of swings. Like, hold up. Delnyyy kind of swings, and Dame also kind of swings. Next time around, that fight will go better, I'm assuming. Either way, though, EFG, 5 members of the Storm, even down this much gold, not going to be easy to keep those birds alive.
No, I mean, we always talk about the gold equivalent for Fire Giants and Enhanced Fire Giants. Early on in the game, you can kind of usually hit about that 5K threshold for what a Fire Giant's worth in its return investment. Enhanced Fire Giant sometimes doubles that around to this 10K lead. That's dwindling even further now, halved in just a matter of minutes by the Xibalba Storm. MagicFeet not on this side of the map where his team needs him most. because Xibalba Storm are already pushing down the towers in mid.
And I bet you Shinigami's elixir is already gone because he popped it too early. It does keep going after you die, but I bet you it's going to run out here shortly. It's still available, but eventually it's going to be gone. And remember, he wasted 2 minutes of it earlier on. The Storm, running down the left side of the map, have their own minions, as well as defending a trebuchet just to stall out a little bit longer. 2 minutes of Enhanced Fire Giant to go, and one more tier 2 tower on the right side of the map. But the Tanuki's still in a good position to defend here. I mean, Nayhoo does plenty of damage on this Vulcan, and it's not as easy as the same play. I don't think Delnyyy blinking in and Dame following is going to work the same way. If the Tanuki are that slow on relics twice, then yeah, the game's over. But if they're able to react, it's not just going to be an easy win, especially if Oceans is able to connect one of those ultimates. But here's the Oni Fire Wave, or the Oni Wave rather, so you might think the Storm want to go in.
Well, you say it's not the same for Delnyyy, but he does it. Doesn't find the carries at half his HP. Ultimate for the Vulcan off the mark. Delnyyy and Oceans low though. Palau pulls them both back in to the damage, and Nayhoo and Snaddy turn that one right back around. The Xibalba Storm on the run as they've lost both of their frontliners.
Yeah, I didn't say it wouldn't be the same fight. I just said it wouldn't work the same way, and it didn't. Delnyy's like, hey, we won last time because I blinked Pillars of Agony. This time, only caught Dashboard, and the rest of the team just fine. Joshy and Zen, though, are hiding. Is Nayhoo and Feet gonna walk up into the gank here? Let's find out. It looks like respecting a little bit of the lack of vision, but Delnyyy is walking up through a wave. Yeah, they've decided, hey, we have no idea where the rest of the Storm are. Let's not make that call. And once the Crush clears the way from behind the jungle, that's going to reveal the gank entirely. And that's the end of Enhanced Fire Giant. It's going to fall off in about 30 seconds. Still puts the Xibalba Storm back in this game entirely. Full Polynomicon built for Delnyyy there. More damage coming the way of this Hades. I'm not going to call it even, because it's still about 6,000 gold in favor of the Tanuki, but map state-wise looks a lot better for the Storm towards this next Enhanced Fire Giant coming in about 36, 37 minutes or so. And that's going to be the one that really starts to matter. Looking at the damage of both of these carries, they just have so much one-shot potential. It really is just who can find a waste of a relic first or a good game-changing ultimate. You got to look towards MagicFeet, though, with Joshy's beads down for another 80 seconds and Delnyyy matching that cooldown as well.
Tanuki step up. See the Pyromancer, it is melting quickly. And now it's the Xibalba Storm's turn to try and step up to the Fire Giant. That one should be up about a half a minute or so now with the buff fading away from the few of the Xibalba Storm who had that one left. But the offensive positioning is in favor of the Yomi Tanuki. In fact, they're stepping forward, but Dashboard probably unknowingly standing on a ward. He'll ping in maybe at least a theory of where that ward may be. But it's all going to come down to maybe just this one last team fight. Remember last time, Oceans missed the landfall. That was the start of the fight. Delnyyy goes in immediately, but again, only catches Dashboard. Yanked back by landfall, but the Vulcan ult in a triple dunk by Snaddy to the back line. Has started this fight, has gotten a lot of defenses out of the Storm. Ultimate gone from Joshy in this next fight.
Nayhoo and Snaddy use their ultimates during that brawl, but Delnyyy, Oceans, and Joshy pretty much just ulted Dashboard, and Ymir was able to go back to base and come back in just fine. What happens in the meantime, though? The Storm don't look like they're walking up anytime soon. They've got their Bracer down to help buff their powers, but if the whole call is to wait for Delnyy's ultimate, I'm thinking the Tanuki might want to go for a pull anytime soon now. Dashboard finally makes his way back to the objective, and you gotta think it's immediately gonna get pulled, and it is. They've got some time before I'm a Monster's back up, and Earthshaker is here for confirmation.
Sprees on Oceans. Shipigami averts his attention from fire to Oceans, back to fire. He's the only one inside the pit. It's MagicFeet and Dame in the back line, and Dame finds the first kill of the team fight. And now the Yomi Tanuki may be on the run. Snaddy avoids the stun from Oceans, but only narrowly avoids it this time, and the fire that was started by the Tanuki has been picked up by the Xibalba Storm. A wall from Dashboard, a teleport in from Snaddy. The fire is getting low. Dashboard ults, but the Xibalba Storm have got the Fire Giant. Delnyyy and Dame to Nayhoo, but Shipigami takes out Dame, and Delnyyy is a sitting duck in the fight, but the snipes from center, good. Nayhoo is out of the team fight. Dashboard in the middle of 4. This Ymir will not last much longer. But the attention is not on the Ymir. It's instead right back on to Snaddy, who's now in the grayscale.
Yeah, big damage there, and clutch snipes from Zen to put Nayhoo down, but now it's Dashboard and Shippigami on the run, trying to get back to base. MagicFeet could not get up into the powwow with that 1v1 versus Dame. It was very low health bars, but getting up into the powwow would have been so much extra damage. But Dame was just able to find that one. That's a massive pick. Now 4 strong are the Storm running for this first Phoenix. Not going to be easy to try and kill Shippigami through both relics here. And MagicFeet has already joined the fight, so the rest of the Storm are going to back up after grabbing that mid Phoenix. Left side bird could be the next target, and they still have another 20 seconds without a Vulcan.
Double poly from Delnyyy and Joshy. Watch the damage onto the Phoenix. Well, blocked by a wall from Dashboard. Let's wait a little longer until we see that one. MagicFeet spotted out. Still holding on to Palau. Dashboard ult back up. Shippigami's away for a while. The Xibalba Storm, without their jungler, not going to stick around too much longer on the left side of the map. They'll take their prize of the mid Phoenix, and they'll back away towards the Primal Fury to reset.
And now, the game looks much closer to even gold-wise. Storm still about 3,000 down, but Primal Fury, the rest of these buffs, and being able to get a Trebuchet on their side means map state. The Xibalba Storm looking much stronger with that mid-bird falling. As you said, the double poly certainly does help. With EFG, I mean, Delnyyy and Joshy can just walk up and auto the Phoenix like 3 times with poly procs, and that should be the end of it. So even without Zen, able to get some structures down. But I can't imagine that fight ever goes that way. Once again, if MagicFeet just goes up into the pal a little bit late, I think like small misplays here from the Tanuki, and to be fair, great capitalization by the Storm has just been putting them further and further behind map state-wise. And now the Tanuki 5 strong with 4 EFGs are heading towards the left side of the map. They sent out a Trebuchet on the right as well. Someone's got to defend mid, and it looks like at the moment that is going to be the Dashbourř. And the rest of the team heading down left. They have 1 minute and 25 seconds left on Enhanced Fire Giant. And they would love one more bird, or if the fight goes poorly, just to look towards the Titan. But you're going to need to kill some carries, in this case Shippigami and Nayhoo, to feel safe going for a Titan this late into the game.
Definitely want to take down Nayhoo. That extra turret damage plus an Earthshaker could turn this game around. Look how far to the side that Nayhoo is. Might need to help out MagicFeet. Forces the Palau, misses every chain shot. Dame used his ultimate as well in a landfall. Will only catch Dashboard, but Delnyyy goes in and immediately back out. Snipes from Zen. How much damage will they get? Not a whole lot to start this one out. Fires the third off to the side. The Xibalba Storm will reset after they're misengaged.
Yeah, the Storm used every single ultimate there, where the Yomi Tanuki really just used Dashboard and MagicFeet, so still have that Earthshaker. And I think more importantly, Lord of the Afterlife means Snaddy can get to the backline, blink, and also ult out to feel safe. With an Osiris sponging up this much damage, it really does start to add up. But Joshy having Eye on Monster can be scary, and we already mentioned those poly shots. That's the real target here for the Phoenix. 20 seconds left on EFG. If the Storm want to go in, it's on this wave and this wave alone.
Storm are buying time for the Trebuchet on right as well. Mid-minions starting to push into the throne room. The minion wave is gone. Oceans doesn't find the pull he was looking for. And with 5 seconds left on the buff, the Xibalba Storm seem to be calling it quits on the left bird. They're kryptonite. They still cannot take down that left side Phoenix. Instead, they will reset to the jungle, take away some of the cans, but maybe come back over towards this mid. That bird's about to respawn in less than a minute. The Xibalba Storm are looking for a pick.
Yeah, last time they tried this, the Tanuki did not fall for it. They thought someone might be in their jungle, and this time around, they're still not stepping up towards the left side. Snaddy, however, is already towards Fire Giant at this point, so if the ambush is on the right side of the map, maybe. And Osiris is walking up right into it. Time to get some extra vision down. That right side Trebuchet will be dropping, as well as that mid Phoenix should be respawning. I'm just going to call it relatively even still. Once that fire wave in mid gets cleared, we're going to be pretty much even map state-wise. Relic-wise, not quite. Nayhoo, no beads or Aegis for 30 seconds, and Enhanced Fire Giant is touching down now. You got to imagine Dame and Delnyyy know exactly when those relics come up, and they have to be looking for this Vulcan. Blink back up for Delnyyy now, and that means all relics for the Xibalba Storm are open. Map state, relic-wise, strength of fighting-wise, the Storm are looking all strong here as they start this EFG.
Fire, half HP, pull on Snaddy. He'll tether one, but it will be broken immediately. The last time this fight broke out, it was the junglers 1v1 that went the way of Dame to kick things off for the Xibalba Storm. They'll pull away from Fire and take down the Pyromancer instead. And this team fight now balancing on a nice edge for these two teams. Dead even in gold, dead even in map. Dashboard though, half HP. I'm a monster, it's gotta go through, but it's not enough. Instead, it's Joshy who's the first one eliminated. Dashboard traded out, and Zen grabs Nayhoo. Dame returning the damage right back. MagicFeet is gone. The double kill for the jungle, the double kill for the Hunter, and Shipigami, the last one alive. How far can the Heimdallr run? How long can the Xibalba Storm continue the chase through with only one alive for 50 seconds? Charlie, this might just be game one for the Storm.
Yeah, once again, Shippigami has both relics available, but I don't think it's going to be enough to keep this bird alive, and more specifically, that Titan. Just a little bit of CC, and this Heimdallr could be going down, but already returning a lot of damage and absolutely gone. Zen said, I'm gonna just auto him instead.
Yep, and Zen takes him down, and the Xibalba Storm can walk right into the throne room in game number one to the team that was put down in the losers bracket. The Xibalba Storm are starting their tour right here, right now. Game number one to the Xibalba Storm.
Yeah, what an absolute pop-off performance there for Zen. There was a couple times when there was some one-health targets and those Rama snipes were clean enough. And also, gotta give your shouts out to Dame. When his team needed him, that Pele was able to find some massive picks from very far down. 14,000 gold in the hole at one point. And they started building their way back into that one. EFG fight after another, and then just a full-on wipe towards that last EFG.
I mean, Dame finding these picks on a MagicFeet specifically more than anything, able to get to the back line and take down Nayhoo as well. Got to give a lot of props over to the jungler for the Xibalba Storm as they're able to take game number one. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get you set up for game number two right after.
One of our longest games of the last couple weeks here in game number 1 between the Storm and the Tanuki. And it's the Xibalba Storm pulling out game number 1 despite massive gold deficits early on there in game number 1, able to turn things around and move themselves one game closer to a potential berth at the Smite World Championship. And it's that time of year. We're starting on the downhill run towards the SWC, and if the spirit is overwhelming you and you need a way to show it, the digital loot pack available in-game right now, featuring Atlantis Leviathans, Gilgamesh, of course, our champions in Season 8. Hoping to go back-to-back, I guess to back if you're Zapman on the Atlantis Leviathans, and a great way to show your Smite World Championship and Smite Esports spirit in-game. The SWC digital loot pack, of course, a few other skins in there as well, on sale now in-game in Smite. So head on over, check it out, and see if it's something you're into. But let's talk a bit about game number 1 here, Gore. It's a game where the Tanuki have an overwhelming lead, the mid-20 or so minute mark, even get an early fire giant. Storm able to answer back with some later on game objectives, stall things out, and eventually the gold just stops mattering, and it's better team play at the end.
And sometimes that's the important part. Like, weather, this is going to be such a bad pun. Weathering the storm is important for them, right? For them to be able to hold on. It is really interesting because, like you said, like having such a lead, and from what we've learned over the last 2 weeks, I've kind of learned that leads don't mean anything. You're going to even see it here. I mean, 12 minutes in, it's 4,000, 5,000 gold separating them. And then sometimes all it comes down to is just being strong on certain picks. I think Dame is able to have, like you said, a late game, pretty clean fight, good dives onto the back line. You get good snipes from Zen. Joshy being able to just exist on the Scylla seemed to be a problem. A lot of the things that you would worry about this comp late game, and yet they did it in spite of a massive deficit that they were facing down. I mean, even here, towards the end of the game, it's still 5,000 that's separating them. It just comes down to team fight, team play, damage, maybe just overwhelming the other team. And there's not much more really to dive into. It's just they had good team fight, good ult usage. And there wasn't much answer back, despite the Tanuki having such a massive lead. And unfortunately for the Tanuki, they're losing these fights around dramatically important objectives. Oof. So even when you get to look at this KDA, in fact, to the point where I'll highlight it, Dame was 3-4 when we started playing Dame highlights. Ends the game at 8-5. So 5 kills with 1 more death. Really, really solid pickup towards the end of the game. Oceans maybe needs to clean up the Maui a little bit, right? The 0-7.
Yep.
Definitely some work there. But when you got Zen at 8-1-11 and playing the way that they did, especially with some of their ults, and Dame diving as deep as they did, Joshy getting the one-man taps with the ult that you saw, that's going to alleviate any sort of pressure points that your team might be having. And for the Tanuki, just got to clean that up, right? I mean, if you got a lead like that, it is always just mentally, I have to imagine, incredibly rough. Not even have to imagine. I've been there in my own games. Mm-hmm. When you're up that far and then you just like throw a fight really hard and then you're still up, but it doesn't feel the same the next fight, and then the next fight it's even worse, and like slowly that like
what's happening.
15,000 is now 5,000, and you're like, oh, we still have a lead. It's like, but do you? Like you just dropped 10K.
Not mentally, right?
Yeah, a lot of that falls apart. So I think for them, a lot of this is just going to be to hit the reset button, try to come in fresh.
A great AD carry fight as well between Shippigami and InMyZen in game number 1. And I wonder if the strategy around the AD carries changes in P's and B's for game number 2, because remember, we saw the Cernanos and the Ishtar both banned out. Ram has skyrocketed as far as priority goes as the games have gone on this weekend. And the Heimdallr was a bit of a reach of a pick, only in the sense that we haven't seen a lot of Heimdallr, but still did some really good damage numbers, did some good killing later on. Eventually, Heimdallr really gets to a really strong point. But Ram later on felt that extra little bit of something here.
I think it's the big difference maker. I mean, look at the top 2 that we've been talking about the most lately. Even Kernanos, I'm gonna throw 3. I'll expend that to 4. Add Cupid. But when you factor Ram and Ishtar and Cupid and Kernanos and put them all together, the one thing that they have in common, outside of just being a hunter, every single one of those ults is impactful. If you hit it in a big team fight, it feels like it's going to do a lot. Ishtar's finding solo kills, like crazy. And the fact, honestly, I'm going to say it, I think the Storm not banning it this time around is actually going to cause them way more trouble. Granted, they were losing the game for a majority of it, so maybe some change-ups are necessary, but that is already a little rough unless they're able to match what the presence. But Ishtar's finding 1v1s, impactful ult. Rom, crazy impactful ults from what we've seen as long as you're hitting them, and they're hitting these shots. You get the Cupid, you get the Kernanos, nice big AoE teamfight ults. Those 4 are bringing something. The Heimdallr just doesn't get to bring that. And so I like the fact that you're getting the change-up. Now you've got 2 Hunters on the board already that are going to be playing with incredibly impactful ultimates.
Yep.
And sometimes that's all that it comes down to is going to be like, Ishtar has a massive stun. You could theoretically hit 3-4 people with that. And if you do that, Rom's not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, I think having the Rom, great, but this time, as you've mentioned, Gore, it's in trade for the Ishtar, so it feels a little bit better, I think, for the Yomi Tanuki.
Oh, for sure.
And they get the Horus, and they get the Merlin. So if you were looking at pure objective shred, not only mid-game, but later on in the game, Merlin great at it, Ishtar fantastic at it, and a Horus really good at initiating. So I really think this core 3 so far is strong for the Tanuki. But initiation, Gore, if that's your concern, if you're the Xibalba Storm, you've got some for Maui.
Yeah.
Also Ratatoskr, who's seen a bit of play here this weekend and seen some really good play at that. Through the Cosmos, just so hard to peel out. And so if you get off to a really good active start, a Ratatoskr jump in, followed by a Descent into Madness might be a good team fight.
I really want to watch what they put in mid, though, because, you know, exactly what you just said. That's a really good team fight. Ratatoskr can get online super early in the game, and I see this pick, and then I look and I say, well, okay, let's go to dual lane. Well, Maui doesn't really have a lot of follow-up damage. Rom does good damage, but it's way later. Let's go to Soul. Oh, well, Cthulhu, like, he's got decent follow-up damage, but now you know you're going up against King Arthur. Like, no, that's not going to be a matchup that you're going to feel like you're impacting a lot. If they don't get a mid laner that can do a lot early on, you're really putting the pressure on this Rat to try and balance out what was the early game. I think Scylla can kind of do it. And so maybe there's some pressure there, but it's up against a Merlin.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does feel like, if the Storm can wait until 30 minutes before they start fighting back, then they're in a great spot. I think this is going to be a fantastic team fight. But if the Tanuki can clean up what went wrong from game number 1, I think we're going to end up seeing them push this one over the edge and go to game 3.
I mean, the Tanuki composition, it feels like classic style of Smite. You know,
Yes.
really just the picks that they've got. It's classic aggression. Can the Tanuki get off to a good enough start, though, to overwhelm the Xibalba Storm? Are we going to see a game 3 on the horizon? We will find out in game 2 with JMac and Trelly.
Last time, the Yomi Tanuki picked up a 12, nearly 14,000 gold lead, and that still wasn't enough to bat away the Xibalba Storm here to make a comeback in game 1. Maybe for the Xibalba Storm's sake, hoping that they don't fall that far behind again in game number 2. It's J-Mac, Trelly, and Doug back to bring you that game. Now, I'll say this, Trelly. I'll say this, Trelly, about Oceans on the way out. I wasn't impressed by the Maui performance out of Oceans in the game number 1. I wasn't too impressed by it in the previous set that he had played this pick. But maybe he'll turn, maybe he'll sway it this time around in game number 2 of this set.
I'm not a big fan of the fact that when you're not impressed with something, your default is to call me the thing you're not impressed with.
I've been more than impressed by you.
Okay.
You have been nothing but impressive, Trelly.
Okay, I do.
This Maui on Oceans hasn't been so far. They didn't lose the purple this time. Does find the double stun to keep Zen alive in the dual lane. But they will be pushed under the tier 1 tower. Good pressure out of Dashboardzd and Shinigami to keep them there. Change up for Shinigami, though, going away from the Heimdallr and onto the Ishtar, that top hunter pick that we've been seeing so much of this weekend, Trelly.
Yeah, if this is... You can't... I mean, Shinigami had a fantastic game number 1 on the Heimdallr, and you're just playing an objective better ADC on the tier list currently, so I imagine nothing but an improvement here for Shinigami. However, I see the adaptation that Tanuki have made. They went for the Fenrir, they went for the Horus, and to me that just says we're going for even more early game, right? Like the Tanuki had no problem winning the early game. It was the late game that was the problem. So instead of saying let's get more late game, they said let's get even more early game. And if we go past 30 minutes, unlucky. We just should lose in that sense because we're letting a Scylla, we're letting this Cthulhu, we're letting the Rama get to that point where it's just essentially unbeatable. And it's not going to be easy. I mean, this Fenrir pick really does fall off, but early on is going to have a very nice matchup into the Ratatoskr. If you can play around the stun, the Acorn Blast, you can essentially just follow the Rat around with Brutalize, and that really does bode well For Tanuki and MagicFeet specifically, to see if this Fenrir can get started early, Delnyyy could be a good target. No beads available for the Cthulhu, and immediately that's where Fenrir is headed. Maybe for the gank, maybe for the blue buff invade, but you got to imagine Snaddy and MagicFeet know they do more damage here at this blue buff.
Yeah, Delnyyy just trying to clear his wave and prioritize blue. He's got his attention split between the both of them. With Dame standing by, it doesn't seem that blue buff invade will be the call for the Tanuki. Snaddy and MagicFeet will back away from this attempt and instead just go back towards their own side of the map. And that always seems to be the answer to the right side.
He got it.
But Oceans, he doesn't miss Hog twice. He'll get it this time.
No one can say
On the
Ocean's
purple.
missed Hog twice. Landfall maybe, but, but not Hog.
But not a Hog, bro.
Yep.
Not going to miss time at this round. But going back to what I was saying, about this Cthulhu, typically the answer to him is, well, it's a Cthulhu. We can't really kill him once he's level 5. We don't really want to focus on trying to kill Cthulhu instead. Just keep his farm away from him. So blue buff invades have always been the call to it, but it seems that Dame was privy to it this time around and decides to thwart the plans of MagicFeet and Snaddy by standing over there.
Yeah, I'm really surprised, because I do think that even with Rat there, with Mannequin Scepter, it would have been a pretty easy invade to go for, or at least throw your damage onto this Rat, but I'm assuming Snaddy and MagicFeet said this is a waste of time. They're not going to commit to the buff because they have worse early games, so they're just going to stand around and watch us do it and go for the steal. So better yet, just go get your own farm in the meantime. So that's what the Tanuki decided to do. But teleport was used from Delnyyy. Delnyyy was able to teleport back in after just getting the tier 2 Pythagorean's piece, whereas Snaddy has not used anything yet, still sticking around with just tier 1 Bluestone. That's why the poking out of this King Arthur has been so prominent. But it looks like just going for the full-on reset, maybe get a totem diff in the meantime. I'm curious to see what the King Arthur is able to do as this game continues. There are some annoying cripples that, you wouldn't like the King Arthur to actually use all these movement abilities into, but also, if you can just grab some beads for MagicFeet and pull someone in, start a pickoff, and begin the fight 5v4, looks pretty good once you go for an actual team fight towards one of these objectives.
We haven't had a team fight proper just yet. Just some additional pressure by the Yomi Tanuki either on the left or the right side. Oceans swings in. Doesn't find the stun on Nayhoo. A quick flicker out for the Merlin. We'll get the mid laner to safety and away from Oceans. Level 5 now available for the Maui. So landfall on the docket, but it seems that Joshy used his ultimate earlier. Not sure if it was to clear a wave or maybe deter MagicFeet or Nayhoo from going forward, but purple buff gets stolen by the dual lane because Oceans was all the way over in mid.
That is going to be the end of the scrapping over on the left. InMyZen on the Rama is going to have a rough time lane-wise, but if by how he was piling that Rama last game means anything, I don't think he cares too much about any bit of pressure over in duo lane. Should just be trying to get online, trying to get to level 20, and then just hard carrying the game away. Those snipes and those auto attacks very much on point from the ADC of the Xibalba Storm. MagicFeet has not used Ragnarok yet, and I guess in that conversation, not like through the Cosmos have been used from Dame either, but up against the Fenrir, you'd think Ragnarok just to force some beads out would be the call, but it's just been farming thus far and sort of hovering around the right side of the map. Snaddy got some good damage on a Delnyyy, but was not able to force Descend into Madness, and as long as that ultimate's available, you're not ganking this Cthulhu.
No, Delnyyy will be just fine on this right side. He'll eat some poke from Snaddy, but now that teleport is back up, Delnyyy can let this minion wave go down to the tower and make his way back in with that fully upgraded Pythags piece. That's become such a common startup for these Cthulhus. Curious as to where Snaddy will go with his. Seems that maybe in towards a Mail of Renewal. It's an option for him, but a dunk off the tree from Dame. Gets between Shipigami. The jolt has been blocked. Shipigami still has ultimate. Oceans is here, will find the hook on a Shippigami, and the snipes. The third one, not enough damage, but Dame's dash is. And the Xibalba Storm are on the board first.
Yeah, great by Dame to block that jolt from Shinigami there, and some good snipes. I'm pretty sure if it was just Dame and Zen, that would not have been a guaranteed kill. But with the rotation in, actually Delnyyy gets picked up here. Dashboardz's trying to chain some CC and descend into Madness. Brutalized, not going to be enough, and it looks like Delnyyy is going to get out. With a little bit of HP left. Unfortunately, Snaddy was not there to help out with some extra DPS. Either way, though, getting the beats down and the ultimate and first put on a Dame, that's about as good as it gets there for the Xibalba Storm.
And able to seal away purple buff and secure least their back heartbeat camps. Only losing out blue, but Delnyyy holding on to his life. The best outcome you could ask for the situation that Delnyyy was put in, but he's getting a bit of the game 1 treatment that he had on the Hades, whereas Snaddy, you know, proxy, not quite to the same degree just yet, was Snaddy proxy farming with MagicFeet standing right by. Delnyyy was not even able to get up to his tier 1 tower with how much pressure was there, but able to hold back this time around and stay alive. With how much free fire the mid laner's been getting though, no pressure really put on to Nayhoo or Joshy. We know what Merlin can do late game towards objectives. Ocean's charged up hook. Finds Shiπigami. Remember, no beads for the Hunter. Landfall yanks him right back in. That's the damage. That's the hit we need. But the stun up the mark by Ocean. And a crash in by Dashboarřd. That might just be enough to save him with the ultimate. A knockup is good. Shiπigami turns away from the fight. And Zen will put him down. Maybe a turn fight could have helped to drop down Dame. With Joshy on the way, Dashboarřd should not walk any further forward.
Yeah, without beats, Shiπigami lived way too long in that engagement. Dashboarřd is trying to stop some backs over on the left side of the map. This Ishtar definitely getting focused out here by the Xibalba Storm, and for good reason. Again, if your plan is to get Zen ahead and have him do what he was able to do last game, I got no problem with this. If anything, I think MagicFeet or even Dashboarřd should spend more time over on the left side of the map trying to play through Shiπigami, because I think he had a fantastic game number 1 as well. And with this much focus, I think if one other member of the Tanuki are there, you're able to at least kill Dame. Very weak on the Ratatoskr that time around, but Nayhoo forced into the beats and just deleted.
Not sure if his flicker was down after the beads were used, or what was the case there, but Nayhoo just absolutely erased by the 2 of Dame and Joshy on the Xibalba Storm. That puts 3 on the board now. For Xibalba Storm, none for an answer from the Yomi Tanuki just yet. Snaddy goes up to try and deal with blue buff, but cannot steal that one away, because Dame is there to make sure it gets guaranteed. Oceans will swing in, find the stun on Dashboarřd, pulls him back in, but with Joshy around the corner, it could be worse. Actually pulls him out of the crush. Joshy lands the Sick'em, but I'm a monster not going to be used. And Joshy may be a little upset with Oceans for taking that pull away from there.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to pull out of your team's damage, you know? Make sure that that crush doesn't get insane value, but let's be honest, Dashboarřd wasn't dying. Once that mail renewal proc, Horus had plenty of HP to live through that one. But still, looking for kills on the left side of the map. I mean, the Storm have been hovering over in duo lane side. Dame has been coming over for blue buff for Delnyyy, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the pressure has been over there. The Pyromancer spawns in about 5 seconds, so maybe time for Dame to use some of that global presence or semi-global presence to look towards the Pyromancer or towards Snaddy. Just trying to push that lead even further. Only about 700 gold. Not as big as you would think for 3 kills. Just by way of, I think Nayhoo has been absolutely power farming on this Merlin, despite dying. Still top XP and net worth in the game, so pretty good from the Merlin as Oceans does use the ultimate to immune, but is it a big trouble?
I'm a monster, crashes in, but Oceans goes down right away. Snaddy rotates over and makes that a 2-for-1 though, because on the left side of the map, Dame and Zen teamed up to take down Shiπigami a 3rd time this game. But with everybody split across the map, 2 down, the Yomi Tanuki will move over towards Pyromancer and take that objective instead.
Yeah, but the Storm are bouncing Gold Fury back and forth at the moment. It looks like Nayhoo realizes it and books it over towards that Fury. All the while, Pyromancer is still not going down. How weak is it? It's very weak, but Nayhoo was not there in time, and it looks like Delnyyy able to stop the Pyromancer. So all in favor of the Xibalba Storm on that one. Unfortunate that Merlin was not able to join in time. Had plenty of damage to stop, but just too slow. And great play from Dame. And also InMyZen just getting some good picks on the Shiπigami and immediately heading towards that Fury.
Unfortunate for Snaddy, went for the full charge King Arthur ultimate. None of his teammates stuck inside the Pyromancer pit, and it just ended up resetting. So because of that, Delnyyy single-handedly able to stop the Pyromancer from going down to the Yomi Tanuki. So it was the Gold Fury trade out, and 1 extra kill at least for the Yomi Tanuki in that regard. But with that Gold Fury for the Xibalba Storm, that nets them about a 1K gold lead over the Tanuki 12 minutes in. Not a significant lead, but every lead starts somewhere. And for the Xibalba Storm, being in a position like this compared to where they were in game 1. I mean, you dial all the way back to about this point. Now I know that was like 40, 50 minutes ago for us, Trelly. So it might be a little far thing back, but it was a 4,000-5,000 gold lead for the Tanuki by this point of the game.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's too long ago. Dashboard, a little bit caught out here. Might have to go up into the skies, but it's getting chain stunned too little, too late. I'm a monster off the mark because Dashboard was already dead at that point. The Pyromancer is still available, but it looks like the Storm are happy with getting that pick and backing up. This Horus is just in the wrong place at the wrong time and had nowhere to go, but Snaddy now getting chased down. If Dame can find the stun, could be some trouble here, but some quick footwork to make sure that Snaddy's able to juke that Acorn Blast, and we'll be able to be just fine on the right side of the map.
Ocean's charging up the hook, but won't throw it out this time around. Pyro picked up by the Xibalba Storm. Nayhoo nearby will drop the Blizzard down for some damage. Snaddy forces a dash away from Descent into Madness. And Oceans goes in, landfall. Doesn't it this time, that's because Snaddy was able to dash away. Nayhoo's back, Xibalba Storm. Get the Pyromancer. And we'll all immediately back away. No further fighting from the Storm. It's the Tanuki. We have to try and find an answer back to this 1,500 gold lead that the Storm have built up.
Yeah, well, Zen was rotating out, which means that Shinigami got some pressure over in his lane. He was able to go towards that red buff, but it looks like did not want to stick around that long. The rest of the Tanuki sort of grouped up in mid. I was wondering if they were going to go for any sort of invade there, but it looks like not the call. Just backing up. I have not seen too much aggression here. I mean, we saw one Ragnarok used, but MagicFeet has not been able to find too many targets. And take a look at the rocks. You can see why. 4 beads all available. No one is really able to force these so far on the Xibalba Storm. Maybe once Snaddy rotates in, helps out in these team fights, we can see more, but jump in, maybe. But they don't know that Oceans is here.
Oceans will swing in. Snaddy will spin away, but hooked. And an immediate ultimate out by Snaddy once again. Using that full charge ultimate defensively to get away from this Maui. Zen versus Dashboard, a 5-level disparity between the two, and with Joshy nearby, that makes it even worse. But Dashboard's got some backup. He'll be able to go over towards his team with that heal. That Protector Surge keeps him alive for now, but I wouldn't step too far forward. Joshy and Zen are still nearby.
Yeah, Dashboard not very tanky at the moment. Just some HP with that Mail of Renewal. Wants to get that Spirit Robe online, but hasn't quite been able to finish it. So that Horus can very easily die if getting picked off by a Sycam or any bit of damage there from Zen. XP-wise is certainly looking in favor of the Storm, but then when you start to look at it, Nayhoo is still top farmed in the game by a wide margin, level 16 for this Merlin, whereas Joshy has not been able to match that same level of farm, and actually relatively even throughout every other role. I did not expect Shinigami to catch up being 0-3 this quick, but all it really took was one rotation from Zen, where this Ishtar just said, hey, I'm going to clear everything on the left side of the map, and I'm not leaving. 14-15, not too bad considering how much presence has been put over towards this duo lane.
A lot of pressure has been established for Zen. 1-0-2 on the Ram versus 0-3 counterpart in Shinigami. But Dame 3-0 on the Ratatoskr also has not really built up the lead you would expect with a 3-0 start. It does have 3 full items online with help that Acorn as well. And the Xibalba Storm's lead has been a very slow build-up. It isn't the same escalation from game 1 where it's 1,000 gold every couple of minutes. It's been a much, much slower pace so far from this team. Only a 2,000 gold, 1k XP for Xibalba Storm. Snaddy hasn't really had a chance to use his ultimate offensively in this game, at least that max 80 charge ult. Used it once defensively around Pyro to keep Delnyyy away from stealing it. Used it twice to get away from Oceans. We'll see if he gets an opportunity to do so. As the Primal Fury started up by the Storm. Landfall immune out by the ult from Shinigami. Storm get the Primal Fury. Dashboard is in the middle of 4, and MagicFeet will join the fray. Goes up with the Ragnarok. Does not get anything out of Joshy this time. The Aegis was used, but Snaddy will put down the mid laner. Can Delnyyy even get out? Even with this ultimate, 3 staring him down. The fires are too much. It's a triple at the end of the day for the Yomi Tanuki. But it's a fury for the Xibalba Storm.
Yeah, I think the Tanuki are going to be fine with that one as long as they're able to back up and immediately push towards the right side of the map. Pyromancer will be spawning in shortly. and it's just DameNWK alive for now. Nayhoo has also been able to stay incredibly farmed. Level 18 at 17 minutes for this Merlin on the relatively losing team. Wait a second, Pyromancer's not quite up yet, J-Mag. Is this going to be a risky Fire Giant call? Dashboard's tanking it immediately, yes, but Dame is stepping up. He wants to try and defend this. Snaddy's got to play zone duty.
Zen does have ultimate though. Dame chased out and destroyed by the jungler of the Tanuki. Fire Giant, half HP. Zen steps into the pit, goes in the sky. Second snipe off the mark. Third snipe's got to hit if he wants to kill Dashboard, and it's there. But as soon as Zen lands, he's got to get some bailout by the rest of his team, and he's getting just that. Snaddy finds the pick, gets yanked back by Oceans. But the Tanuki are now off the Fire Giant thanks to the efforts of the Storm's Hunter.
Yeah, they're going to be able to stall that one out. Good stall. I mean, Zen spent the entirety of the time up in the air and was still able to find that last snipe to put down Dashboard. But like I said, the Tanuki are fine with everything that just occurred. They lost the Fury, gained plenty of gold and experience, and now this game is relatively even looking at map state-wise. The Tanuki still have the opportunity to go in for this Pyromancer. Landfall is available if Oceans wants to try to yoink anyone off the Pyro, and it looks like just seeing that Maui is going to be enough to stop the aggression towards that objective. I still think that the ADCs want to spend a bit more time over in duo lane before they rotate out into these fights and make a permanent showing in these 5v5s. Level 16 isn't exactly when these hunters come online fully. But then I just keep looking over at Nayhoo and seeing 3 levels over Joshy and think that maybe the Tanuki are fine with just fast-tracking the late game. Snaddy has been a huge deal on this King Arthur, making extremely impactful rotations towards the back line. And that's not even Blink. There's teleport and beads. Snaddy's just been getting to the back by nature of King Arthur movement and being absolutely disastrous towards these carries.
King Arthur and Merlin definitely topping the XP chart for the Yomi Tanuki and just in general. I mean, it was even like 70 to 80 XP per minute more. Zen walks up and sets up for Dame. The snipes are on point. And the damage from Dame to finish the job with 2 on the left side of the map. The Yomi Tanuki have pulled the Pyro, but it's still 3v3. Over here, Joshy around the wall, crush, and I'm a monster's there, but I'm a monster doesn't kill the Pyro, it resets. Back once more, and the Pyromancer will be picked up by the Yomi Tanuki. Snaddy harassing the backline. Oceans too weak to stay in this fight, and Delnyyy will zone them out. While MagicFeet chases out Zen, but he's got Joshy as backup this time. Brutalized stopped, but he still will go down. A kill for Nayhoo this time around.
Wow, great plays. I got to shout out Shippigami there. I think he stalled out just long enough so that MagicFeet was able to make the rotation in, kill off Dame, and chase InMyZen all the way towards mid lane so that there's 2 kills going down. Of course, Joshy also falls in the mix, but it looks like the Tanuki, with Shippigami already spawning back in, are going to look towards Delnyyy. This Cthulhu descends into madness, and that's going to be the end of it, right? There's no way that Nayhoo has enough damage to burn through this Cthulhu, but Fire Giant is on the cards, and it looks like that's going to be the call. Going for this next objective. Here comes Dame, but no ultimate available. It's really going to be uncontested.
It looked like a lot of damage from Nayhoo, but he'll turn the rest of his kit toward the Fire Giant instead. Yomi Tanuki will now get the first lead of the game for themselves over the Xibalba Storm with a 20-minute, 40-second Fire Giant. For the Yomi Tanuki, and now a 3,000 gold lead at the end of that with the help of the Tier 1 tower going down. Xibalba Storm just can't catch a break in the farm department. I mean, you keep highlighting the mid lane deficit, but I'm also looking at solo lane, whereas 2.5, nearly 3 levels up for Snaddy as well. And the team fights haven't been looking as hot for the Xibalba Storm. How does the tower defense look for the Storm instead?
Not great. I mean, usually when you look towards these Phoenix defenses, or in this case, Tier 2 tower defenses, you look towards the mage, but Joshy is not chunking. I mean, you got 3 items if you're this Scylla. You're not in one-shot territory, not yet. You need 1, 2 more. In this case, that Charon's coin and the Soul Reaver, you're going to be doing good damage to Nayhoo, but that's pretty much it. Everyone else does not care, and Shippigami should not be in range to get hit by a Scylla. So I'm not thinking the Xibalba Storm are going to be able to fight in a 5v5 just yet. Maybe underneath their Phoenix, they'll feel a little bit more confident. InMyZen was able to finish that kin size, and that's going to help out with shredding through some of these tanks. At this point, my question is who is dealing with Snaddy? And I have not found an answer yet. 5-0, top of the damage charts by a wide margin, doing quite literally double Delnyy's damage so far in the game. And it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. This King Arthur has been getting crabbed in by Oceans, but not really chunked out after that grapple comes through.
First couple of full charge ults from Snaddy were defensive. Got to get away from Oceans, but the last few have been offensive ones to go in like this on top of Delnyyy. Trebuchet will fire its last fireball. Delnyyy, half HP on the Cthulhu, will back away, but it's going to be a while until that next minion wave comes through. But it is an enhanced one, Oni minions on the way for the Tanuki, but Snaddy will tank up the tier 2 and allow the Tanuki to drop down the structure. 2 more tier 2s left. The Xibalba Storm don't want to put up the full defense to save them out.
Yeah, definitely the smart call. That tier 2 in mid. It's going to be next on target here for the Tanuki, but all beads are available. The only target could be looked at is Oceans. A stun into a Ragnarok, but Dashboard gets chunked through. Beautiful landfall into the I'm a Monster, but not much damage.
Oh, Nayhoo was able to flicker away from it, but he can't flicker from the damage of DameNWK. And just like this, the fight is turned back around for the Xibalba Storm off a great initiation from Oceans. He'll drop the movement speed for his team. A blink in by Dame. Shippigami is off the map. 3 gone from the Yomi Tanuki, and the Xibalba Storm are now the ones pushing up towers.
Yeah, but MagicFeet makes the smart call to start split pushing with an Oni wave and is able to grab that tier 2 tower. And Snaddy certainly able to keep this tier 2 alive for at least a little bit longer. And if the full charged ultimate is available, he's definitely going to be able to keep it alive indefinitely. Ult off the mark though. And that means probably a full-on retreat as that tier 2 goes down. MagicFeet has rejoined the fight, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to defend that red buff either. The Xibalba Storm defend most of that Fire Giant, just losing 2 tier 2s, but grabbing 1 for themselves. And it looks like a full-on retreat here. A little bit too much damage. I mean, Joshy finally got online, has the Divine Ruins, a great landfall in from Oceans, and more specifically, Dashboard's not tanky. I hate this Horus build. I'm not a big fan of it at all.
Yes. Spirit Robe, CAD Shield, and Mail of Renewal. Not really a lot of natural defenses. A lot of HP, but not really much so in the protection department. So you can see he's not even over 200 yet this late into the game.
I mean, Oceans is stacking.
Oh, he's already done stacked that Thieves. And Delnyyy will have to dash away. Yomi Tanuki, even despite losing that fight, still playing aggressively.
He's got 1,000 more HP than him, and all Dashboard build was HP.
By the way, also like double the protections in the physical department, and not quite double in Magic. I mean, this is just a strange build from Dashboard. He is committed into the I want a lot of extra HP, I want a lot of extra healing, but hasn't done him a whole lot of good just yet.
And that's the thing. It's one thing if you're getting poked down, but the Xibalba Storm, it's 1 CC into burst damage. That's why Dashboard cannot frontline currently. Tries to go for To the Skies out and dies before that ultimate even channels. As the game continues and upgrading that Benevolence will certainly help out, but MagicFeet does jump on a Dame here, looking to find a kill. Good stun though, but Snaddy and Nayhoo trying to chase this down.
Not enough damage from Nayhoo. Landfall grabs the Merlin. Heal is there. I'm a Monster slams, and Oceans jumps back in to try and drop them. Snaddy in the middle of 4, able to dash his way back out. Oceans off the mark with the hook. But what a save by Oceans with that landfall to distract the Yomi Tanuki and get the Xibalba Storm out of danger.
Yeah, that was a beautiful ult from Oceans, as well as the follow-up from Joshy, but even better timed Aegis, and then of course Dashboard actually used To the Skies to get Nayhoo out of trouble. That Merlin was stuck behind the landfall island and just could not run anywhere else if not for a perfectly timed To the Sky. So great play by Dashboard, gets his mid laner out of trouble, but Relics not looking great for the support and the mid laner on the Yomi Tanuki. Everyone else looks just fine. And the Storm are pushed up towards this tier 1 and right, but it looks like the Tanuki are ready to re-engage. Their target has to be the front line at the moment because no one's able to get too far in the back. There are no blinks available for the Yomi Tanuki. It's pretty much hit who's in front of you, or we're going for wraparound plays. And that's kind of been the idea here for MagicFeet, hiding in the jungle, waiting for Dame to step up, and once again, this time missed the jump.
This time they jumped onto Oceans, who will swing away. Big stun from Shippigami puts Joshy at critical health, and now the bead's gone from the Scylla. 90 seconds till Aegis is back up. Joshy forced to reset. And the Yomi Tanuki on the Fire Giant. It's just MagicFeet and Shiπigami dealing the damage. Oceans walks forward, swings out, jump in by MagicFeet, landfall to grab 2, but that was just for immunity from CC. It's not gonna save damage, and neither will Dame's life be spared. Zen able to trade out 1. Dashboard is gone, Feet jumps back in. Josh with the Yama Monster takes down Nayhoo, and MagicFeet returns the favor on to Delnyyy, but Zen and Joshy have single-handedly kept this fight alive for the Storm.
MagicFeet getting chunked down by that crush, and it looks like that's gonna be it. A beautiful fight from the Tanuki up until that point, but Joshy makes sure that fight does not go completely bad for the Xibalba Storm. And because of complete double down, J-Mac, that's going to be it. I assume next time there's going to be a full-on brawl, be pretty close to enhanced Fire Giant territory. Joshy's able to grab the red buff, and Shiπigami is looking towards the left side, at least going to grab Oracles to know if the Storm want to try and make a pull onto that Primal Fury before this Fire Giant starts to be looked at. I'm really surprised the fact that, number one, Snaddy even is able to die with how much of a tank force this King Arthur has been, but also the fact that that fight went so well for the Tanuki up until that point. Nayhoo's doing a lot of damage, but it seems like this Merlin flickers aggressively a lot, and once that flicker is down, not too much peel. I mean, Dashboard has usually been the first one to die, and once your support's gone, you're kind of fending for yourself, because everyone else is just diving the back line. I mean, Snaddy, MagicFeet, and in this case, Dashboard, we're all trying to find damage there. So Nayhoo just tries to peel for himself with his own damage. But now, full-on reset, 1 minute and 20 seconds away from EFG, and both teams grouped around the objective.
Joshy started to catch up and build. So the damage output of the Scylla, we saw it on display. Dashboard. You gotta stop walking that far forward, buddy, when Oceans has been on point this game with the hook shots. Was giving Oceans a lot of grief in the last game about some of the misses, some of the landfalls, but this game he has turned it up. Has really been a great namesake for his squad. Misses that one. I gotta stop hyping him up, but Dashboard able to get back out. Delnyyy into the Descent to Madness. Landfall grabs 2 once again. But Shiπigami out, not for long though. Dame and Zen have found the backline. The snipes are good, and that's good again for Zen. Double kill now for the Hunter, but MagicFeet takes down Dame. Nayhoo at a sliver of HP. Zen wants to find the dash in. Maybe he can just find the damage on to MagicFeet. Aegis burned by the Fenrir. Crush off the mark. But MagicFeet is just buying time for his team.
MagicFeet's a real one there. There's no way I'm jump stunning in to save my mid laner, but he does, and now Snaddy gets stunned out. Oceans has the pull back in and isn't able to find it because Joshy finds that kill. Look at MagicFeet though, actually going for the wraparound. I was gonna say hiding towards the Fire Giant, but no, not gonna be the call. Nayhoo and MagicFeet are the only line of defense towards this enhanced Fire Giant. I'm a monster, not available. The only ultimate is a stance switch from Nayhoo, and I'm not sure that counts, but immediately grabbed in by Oceans.
But look at the damage he's done to Zen. Crush off the mark. Zen low. Watch out for MagicFeet behind. This could get dicey quick if you're not paying attention to the Fenrir. And Nayhoo is, again, by himself, saved this Fire Giant from going down to the Xibalba Storm. With Dashboard back on the scene, the Storm have got to retreat.
Yeah, full-on retreat there. That could have been a very easy EFG if not for some great DPS from Nayhoo and also MagicFeet just distracting the enemies. I mean, the Xibalba Storm chased him throughout the jungle many, many times. This Fenrir has plenty of ways to escape, but Dame is back, and this Ratatoskr has been just destroying the backline using through the Cosmos. Most often dying after that ult, but the damage has been done, and after that, the carries really cannot exist. Shiπigami was the target last time, but this time, we'll have the Aegis. 0-6 on the Ishtar, just has been focused out so much by this jungler. And now the Xibalba Storm are going to start the pull once again, and it looks like Ocean's going to tank this one up.
Pull on a Dashboard. We've seen this story before. We've seen that as well. Another big ult by Oceans, but Dashboard slammed by the I'm a Monster. Nayhoo dropped by Delnyyy. The I'm a Monster off the walk that time. Zen doesn't get the snipes he's looking for. MagicFeet can't find the damage, but does find the ult onto one. But he will trade his life out again. A 3-for-2 trade out and another extended fight, and the Fire Giant once again will get to live because of it.
Yeah, but Delnyyy should be able to come back here. And InMyZen and Joshy have plenty of damage to look towards the Enhanced Fire Giant if they wanted to go for a pull, but having to deal with Trebuchet means a full-on reset once again. The Xibalba Storm are ahead by like 400 gold at this point. It is a entirely even game, but Snaddy is able to get the beats down, but can he get out? Looks like yes. Joshy doesn't have the damage or the chase down, and Shippigami is dishing a little bit of DPS back, but EFG has been started up. Snaddy does have the teleport available, so we'll be able to join back full HP. And once the Storm see that, they don't have I'm a Monster, so this is going to be difficult if Snaddy can get towards Joshy. It looks like they realize that and immediately reset the objective once again.
Yeah, very fast reset by the Xibalba Storm. And this is a dead even game 32 minutes in. This is not a 10 or 12,000 swing that over the course of the next 10 minutes has been building back up to a tie. This is at most 5K that the Tanuki built up earlier on. That has been a slow burn back down once again for the Xibalba Storm, who had the lead at the start of this game. This was in the Storm's control to start out game 2. Tanuki bounced back, pushed the Storm onto the back foot. Now the Storm have these Fire Giant fights, specifically off the back of Oceans. This Maui has been doing well so far in game number 2. Wants to find the hook shot onto somebody again. Will grab Dashboard once more. But a quick dash out by Dashboard does get stunned, or knocked up, I should say, by Delnyyy. But Descend into Madness is down, and that's a huge team fight ult for the Storm wasted.
Yeah, Delnyyy cancels it immediately, trying to get it back on cooldown so the Storm can use it for the next engagement. But the Tanuki are smart. They're going to fight right now. They don't want to wait until Delnyyy can Descend into Madness. This Cthulhu becomes so much easier to deal with without that ability. Shippigami looking for poke, though. Not quite starting on the Enhanced Fire Giant. Maybe seeing if they can find a pick off of some good CC from Snaddy, but finally EFG has started up. Dashboard's playing zone duty, but is not that tanky, and you can see why he's immediately deleted.
But he went in, and the landfall pulls him right back to the clutches of the Storm. Dame on top of the tree and onto the ground. Nayhoo has lost both of his relics in an instant. And the Xibalba Storm continue to capitalize off this squishy Horus. And we'll go right back to the Fire Giant.
Yeah, EFG started up. Snaddy trying to frontline, but MagicFeet is here and has Ragnarok.
Oceans.
Already Oceans is gone.
Dame, half HP. Shippigami trapped inside the mire. But Delnyyy doesn't have ultimate. Needs a little bit more damage from Zen, who has been pumping out plenty for his team. I'm a Monster by Joshy just to escape. Delnyyy low, Zen low, will still live through. Snaddy takes down Zen. Dame and Joshy drop Snaddy, and it's just MagicFeet alive. And again, truly, another fight leads to a reset.
Yep, no one able to do Fire Giant with those low health bars, so Delnyyy and Dame will head
He's doing
towards
the John
the objective.
Travolta over here like, is somebody gonna fight me?
Nope. There's no one to fight at this point. Hey, Dashboard was able to finish up Magi, so maybe able to stand at the forefront of this fight a little bit longer. But there's going to be no pull because there's no one to do the Enhanced Fire Giant. I think MagicFeet has been able to stay alive with this tanky Fenrir build, but it also means not as much burst, not as much 100-0 potential with that Brutalized when it is able to get full channeled. I think the idea was, hey, pretty much everyone on that team can cancel my Brutalized, so might as well build it as tanky as possible, get that Bumba's Hammer, go for some extra damage, and resets trying to pull beads. But yeah, full-on reset. I mean, InMyZen back in 5 seconds, and Snaddy and Nayhoo also will join the fight then. Might as well get comfortable. we're waiting for
lean the chair back a little bit further here, Charlie, back where I was at the start of this game.
Yeah, waiting for the next instance of Enhanced Fire Giant. Or I guess, in this case, the first instance, but next fight towards the objective is going to be the call. And it just seems like if the Tanuki can have their frontline survive a bit longer, they have the damage to be able to blow through. And the Xibalba Storm have been winning every single fight because they delete the front line so fast, but they cannot keep their damage dealers alive. Delnyyy forced to Descend into Madness once again, and then a full-on reset, but Joshy's got I'm a Monster, and here comes Dame.
Dame drops down on top of Nayhoo. Mid laner, gone. MagicFeet jumps out, but it's still 5v4, but the primary DPS of the Tanuki is on respawn. 55 seconds till Nayhoo can rejoin the fight. And the Storm will once again head towards Enhanced Fire.
But I'm a Monster not available. Best confirm is going to be your crush with a Polyauto at the same time. And Joshy is going to be the one to be able to dish that out. Dame doesn't have ultimate either. It's really just landfall, and there it is.
Missed by Oceans, but MagicFeet goes in on top of Dame. 1 down for the Xibalba Storm. Snaddy in the middle of 4, but Snaddy's able to worm his way out of the team fight and join back with the rest of the Yomi Tanuki. 20 seconds till Nayhoo is back, but 30 more beyond that before Dame can rejoin the fight.
And that means the Xibalba Storm are going to back up and give up Pyromancer 37 minutes into the game. And I don't think the Tanuki are going to be able to pull anything in the meantime. They'd feel much more confident if they had that extra burn damage from the Merlin, from Nayhoo, spawns in another 2 seconds or so. And if that's the call, then I think we're going to see another full-on reset. I have to imagine, because so far the call has been, jump on a Delnyyy, maybe we get his beads. Oh, to send him at it, okay, let's leave. But if you use that much to get that ultimate down, someone is out of position. More often than not, it was Shiπigami, but this time around it was Nayhoo, and that was a big deal for the Storm. But they really weren't able to translate into the Enhanced Fire Giant because of some great gameplay from the Yomi Tanuki as well.
Fire Giant started by the Tanuki. Still 27 until Dame is back. Nayhoo is on his way to the team fight. This is the best chance the Storm have to either find a pick or get a reset. Looks like the Fire Giant's health back up. Now with 5 here, the Yomi Tanuki can start the objective. 10 seconds till Dame is on map, but even longer till he's back in the fight. Oceans, very low. Descent to Madness from Delnyyy and snipes from Zen. Get the Aegis out of Nayhoo from the mid lane. And that's 2 big ultimates down. Snaddy knocked up. The Xibalba Storm back away, as do the Yomi Tanuki as health bars start to drop low.
Yeah, and that's going to be the full-on reset here for the Tanuki, but now the Storm are back 5 strong because Dame was not going to be able to be in that fight. You got to look at the relics once again, and Aegis not available for Nayhoo, but besides that, you got to look at Joshy's beads. I don't think MagicFeet is ever really able to jump stun Joshy this late into the game. It's just very difficult without a blink to close that gap, to get to that Scylla. And whenever you commit too hard, you know that Ratatoskr is going up to the skies with this full damage build and taking someone out. It's usually a trade, but Dame has been happy to say, hey, I'm going to use my Hidden Blade proc, I'm killing someone, and then I'm dying. You guys do the rest. Now the Xibalba Storm is starting up, but Snaddy takes a lot of damage.
He's able to dash away, but he's half HP on the Arthur. Teleport back available. He's going to channel his back and rejoin the team. No ultimates used to take him out that time. So they can rest on the fact that everything is available for the Storm on this next fight. It's either been a pick on Delnyyy, at least for the Yomi Tanuki to get in these fights, or a pick on a Dashboarřd for the Storm to kick things off. But now with that Magi's up for Dashboarřd, a little healthier, a little tankier, a little bit harder to grab for Oceans. That bubble has got to go down if that wants to continue to be the target for the Storm.
Yeah, good pull in by Oceans will be able to grab that no problem, or getting hit by the Mire from Delnyyy, which is a little bit harder to kit, admittedly. MagicFeet did step over a ward though, but it's wrapping around to try and find the Storm. That Fenrir in the backline could be dangerous, especially since Joshy doesn't have beads, but like I said, did walk over a ward, so the rest of the Storm know exactly where that Fenrir is. There's still tier 2 towers on the map 40 minutes in. And it looks like Dashboarřd actually could be in some trouble.
Dash is away though. Knockup is good. But it's a Descent to Madness for no ultimates of the Yomi Tanuki. Just the bubble for 60 more seconds on cooldown for Dashboarřd. The Xibalba Storm will back away and recuperate some of their losses from the fight. Oceans and Delnyyy have lost a quarter of their HP. Snaddy steps forward, but that may have just been too far. The King Arthur is off the mark, down a monster, slams down, Dashboarřd is gone, and Dame crashes to the back to take out Snaddy. That is 2 down for the Yomi Tanuki, and maybe more, but the landfall off the mark by Oceans, and Shiπigami down. Only 2 stand for the Tanuki.
It's a 2v5, and you got to imagine the Storm feeling pretty confident to go for the objective, I was gonna say, but then they started going towards the tower. So maybe, just feeling they don't want to even gamble with this Enhanced Fire Giant anymore. They just want to run it down. Those respawn timers are extremely high, but it's not going to be easy. MagicFeet has Bumba's Hammer. He can proc it off the buffs, try and get that Ragnarok back, and Nayhoo has been dishing out tons of damage on this Merlin. I already talked about tier 2 towers. I'm pretty sure there's still 2 up if the Storm have to try and go towards the Titan, which means that Titan not going to be easy to burn through immediately.
Charlie, I don't think we've fought in a lane for like the last 20 minutes. It feels like from That first Fire Giant at like 20 minutes in.
There was a Fire Giant at 20 minutes?
There was a fire like 20 minutes in, like I think it was 2040 was the timer on that one. And ever since that Fire Giant has kind of been removed from the map, it has been non-stop fighting in the jungle by these teams. Aegis and Beads from Nayhoo. Maybe out of fear that that Acorn Blast was a little bit closer. And now the Storm, with that knowledge, can go to the fire.
Yeah, I don't hate that play. Nayhoo dies there, the game is over. So just panic relicking, better than not using him at all. An Enhanced Fire Giant is finally gonna go down. The Xibalba Storm are going to get the Enhanced Fire Giant. Breathe a sigh of relief.
It's a Christmas miracle, Trelly.
What?
They got one.
Well, I didn't mean you. I meant them.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I needed a side too, man.
And now they're going to run it down mid lane. Respawn timer's all coming back. Snaddy will be here in about 3 seconds, and Shippigami 10 seconds away. But remember, Nayhoo had to use both relics to try and survive that damage from Dame. It's not going to be easy with your Merlin already getting pulled back in, but there's no follow-up.
Flicker, bubble con from Dashboardzd. Takes a surge out. Delnyyy goes into the madness. Mid-Phoenix melting away. Nayhoo with no relics. Crashed on by Dame. He'll take them out. Ocean's low, but Ocean's gone. Another I'm a Monster by Joshy. That one takes out MagicFeet. Dashboardzd knocked up, knocked down. The Xibalba Storm are going to eliminate the Yomi Tanuki from the NA SCC Championships, and they move on to the second half of play. Snaddy has nothing to do to stop this one through. It is a deicide game 2 in the set to the Storm.
Yeah, that's some great gameplay there from Joshy. Those I'm a Monsters were really clutch. And of course, InMyZen having a crazy set from this Rama. So many kills as well as the snipes always on point. Got to give credit to Dame as well. It just seemed like he was always ready to dive to the backline to help out his team. Whether it meant he died or not, he was going to set up and do tons of damage on this Ratatoskr. And Oceans had quite the comeback as well. We were kind of harshing on him on the Maui play. Not anymore. Those landfalls and those pulls on point this game.
You've earned it back for me, Oceans. The Maui looked good in this game. Looks way better than it has in the previous ones. Go ahead and keep playing if you're going to make plays like this one. The Xibalba Storm. Clean it up in 2. That's it for me and Charlie on the cast. Throw it over to the desk to break it down.
That is a far from easy win there for the Xibalba Storm. Game 1, we're getting in the mid-40s. Game 2, we just crossed that 40-minute threshold. Competitive to the very end for the Yomi Tanuki. Unfortunately for them, this is the end of their Season 9. But the dream continues for the Xibalba Storm. And in moments like that, the clean team fighting, the precise shot calling, and team synergy is what ultimately ends up winning. And we so often talk about it, Gore. When you get to like the 30-plus minute mark, so much of that early game, I mean, it sounds harsh, doesn't really matter, right? All the early kills, early first bloods, invades, things like that. I mean, it matters in the sense that one team is getting denied a winning opportunity off of it, things like that. But the game really simplifies into shot calling and team fighting and team compositions after that.
And you know, using that game as an example, right? 40 minutes into that game, gold is even, teams are even, relics are even. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is just top to bottom the same for each side. Everybody's got their ults. And so in moments like that, you know, this first blood that happened 30 minutes ago doesn't mean that much to your team or to you. And so, like you said, in the moment, all of that stuff is very impactful. And of course, being able to deny it, I think was a good job by the Tanuki. But the Storm just playing really well. And as the game progressed, playing cleaner and cleaner. There were moments, though, like, they get a pick around the Fire Giant, or you think it's going to be around a Fire Giant, but then they're not quite confident or capable of getting things. I think it was, not this fight, but 10 minutes, something very similar to this fight happens.
Yep.
And that Descent into Madness gets used early on, and you think, well, there's the opening that the Tanuki need in order to get this. But it comes back to some similar things that we saw in game number 1, which is Zen playing out of their damn mind. Yep. Joshy playing out of his mind, getting a lot of really good ults. Dame, who I think, and has to have a lot of credit. You know, Dame was hyped up, I want to say, in the very first Masters this year, and then again in the second Masters this year. And this one so far is deservedly so, right? I mean, this has been a very good performance, I think, out of the jungle. 9, 6, and 18, the kills there, I'm sorry, the deaths were up there as well, but you were getting in and getting things done. You got a lot from Josh. You got a ton from Zen. but a lot like what the casters had said at the very end. I see double 21s in the assist column for both the front lines there for the supports, and that's exactly what Delnyyy and Oceans were doing. There were a lot of moments where sometimes maybe their CC was just the reason that things got set up so well for those carries. And I think even at the end, highlighting that one Descent to Madness that around the Fire Giant felt like it might have been the time for the Tanuki to get aggressive, because they used it so early then. That's why it was so easy to break the base just now, because they had it back. So a lot of moments that maybe felt like, even to the point of maybe even feeling like flubs, like, oh no, that's going to cost you, turning into a gold mine for the Storm.
Right, and ended up being heavy shutdown on the Shippigami as well. It was 1-9, I think, on the Ishtar is what we saw, and that is not something that happened to Shippigami often this weekend. Just heavy pressure onto the AD carry. Was difficult for Dashboardzd as well, and so all of that pressure spearheaded in the right way. Remember, this is a 5th seed SCC team in the Xibalba Storm. They just took down Yomi Tanuki, and so the Xibalba Storm will move on. And that rounds out our B bracket here on this side of things. The Athenian Sages, that's your number, where am I looking? 2 seed, it was 2 seed. Number 2 seed coming into this event. So the favorites on this side of the bracket, they will advance. Xibalba Storm Gore have a really, really good showing here as well. And they had to make a bit of a run, the Storm did. Lost the first matchup of their weekend. Had to run through knowing they couldn't lose any more of their sets. Beat the Tanuki on a rematch style of game a bit later on. And will advance out of Group B. So Group B, signed, sealed, delivered. Group A is as well. That group already been delivered. I'm yours. Eldritch Hounds, Callan Wardens are the 2 teams that make it out of this group. Again, the Eldritch Hounds, the overwhelming favorites here in North
for sure.
America. Callan Wardens, though, maybe a chance to make some waves in our elimination.
Yeah, if the Wardens play every game from this point forward the way they played that last game against We Pull Up, then I have higher expectations for them. But if they come in showing off either the way they did against the Weavers or even worse, the way they did against the Hounds, I think they're going to have some struggles ahead of them, especially with the other 3 teams that they're going into.
We have seen A, we have seen B. Let's check out Group C now that has finally formed. It's the same type of structure with the top 2 teams from Group A and the top 2 teams from Group B. So, our next matchup here today, that'll be the Eldritch Hounds up against the Xibalba Storm. And then the last matchup of our day, that's the Sages versus the Wardens. And so, Gore, we have 4 teams remaining. Remember, these 4 teams will be whittled down to 2 by the end of this weekend. 2 teams will make it out, head on to the SWC group stages in January.
Yeah, the big ones here are match 14, match 15, right? Winner of match 14, winner of match 15. Those are the 2 that go to the group stages. And so win twice right now, you're set. And if you can come in like the Hounds are expected, and pretty much just do what they did in their own bracket, 2-0, 2-0, you're going to groups. And I think that they are still the favorites, but seeing how the Storm have played, I think this next set is going to give them a little bit of trouble. Knowing that the Sages, the Wardens still have that capability, I think we could still see a lot of upsets.
Yeah, I'm wondering, so depending on how the Storm look in our next set of the day, I actually think that really sets a tone for the remainder of their weekend. Win or loss, I think the Storm, if you're able to go to 3 against the Hounds, if you're looking competitive against the Hounds, suddenly the Storm matchup, I think raises some eyebrows for the remainder of this weekend. We're officially on to our elimination stages in the first group, in the first matchup in that elimination stage, right around the corner. You don't want to miss it. Coming up next.